Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
For the second goddamn time, hello, my name is Logan. This is Flesh and Pod, episode 200, and I definitely did not get it to rhythm.
We just broke the record, and then Logan's internet cut out.
That is 1,000% untrue. Like,
it's
absolutely
like
not.
98% untrue. We got like 15 minutes in.
11.
What's funny though is because your internet messed up, I get to now prove to Josh that you are a pro card game player, and I can prove this because when Logan joined the call, he could see that I'm almost done with this pie, and he said, "Hey, looks like that pie's almost gone." Now, if you hover over my picture now, Logan, what does it say?
Oh, it says the pie is almost gone.
Yeah, but see, as a true card game pro, you didn't read, right?
No,
I know
not.
Card game players don't read, so it was just...
Well, you're not wrong. And I did not read. I just noticed that the pie was looking quite empty. And
yeah,
I commented on that.
For every little bit of pie that comes out of the bowl refills up with sadness.
Oh, must be good pie then. Or must be good sadness.
Man, that must be an excellent pie that it creates a sadness vacuum whenever it disappears.
It's just a sadness vortex. It's just like creating nothing but sadness, and all Charmer does.
Man, there's nothing like fresh apple desserts of any kind. Pies, fritters, pastries, you name it. The orchards in Michigan every fall are just outstanding. We go to a bunch all over the state all year long, but
yeah, all right.
You make me hungry.
Nothing like it.
Some apple pie, a little bit of cinnamon. Oh so
yeah,
good.
Cinnamon ice cream,
a little bit of brown sugar.
Oh yeah, nutmeg. Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah,
So
we're hitting it on levels. But yeah, this is episode 200 of Flesh and Pod. 200 goddamn episodes that are, again, all Charmer's fault. He's going to say almost and not quite, or try to eschew blame somehow, but this is his fault. My name is Logan. I'm your host. Hold on, I'm not done yet. My name is Logan. I'm your host. With me as always, well, most always, is Charmer, aka Darick Oswald, aka no one knows who he is anyway. And joining us is Rules and Policy Manager for Legend Story Studios, Joshua Scott. Now, I will say, Darick, that Josh and I had a nice, good conversation leading up to this, and he had to ask me, have I ever met Charmer in person?
No way.
Oh, no, it happened.
No. Tell me you're fucking with me.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, all right, when was the first time that I met Logan? And I was like, was that I think it was Baltimore,
Baltimore.
Ages ago. We're at the dinner. Was Charmer there? Because I haven't caught up with Charmer in person since. Have I actually met Charmer in person?
You actually have caught up with me since. That's what's even funnier.
That's
so
even
not only
better.
was I at that dinner that you are struggling to remember, I was also, in fact, at Barcelona, and not only did you meet me, but you met my wife. You even offered to loan me a deck because my stuff was lost. My luggage had been lost. Was there purchasing clothes for merch? Yeah. No, this is a thing. It's actually extra funny because the trip to the orchard that I took this weekend, it was actually with friends of my wife, coworker of hers, guy they're seeing, et cetera, people I've met a number of times now. But the gentleman introduced himself to me and said, "Oh, hey, we haven't met. My name is Jeremiah." And I was like, "Oh no, we've met." He was like, "We have?" And I was like, "Yeah, at the work party and and he was like, "Oh, my bad." And I immediately messaged Logan. I was like, "Listen, it's happened again."
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It just do you have a superpower? Do you have some sort of force field around you that makes you so present in the moment that when people leave, they sort of like enter a different dimension of reality there. They don't recognize you or can't remember having met you. Or
it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because I had a similar thought recently. And then this is going to be a really like weird deep cut reference, but I remembered that there is an episode of the TV show Dark Angel from the early aughts, starring Jessica Alba.
Early Jessica Alba.
And in that TV show, if you're not familiar, there's a bunch of like genetically modified people that get like weird powers and whatever. And there is one episode about a dude that literally people forget him when he's not around. And so like he goes through like this big thing where it makes him like incredibly lonely and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, he does like a self-sacrifice thing, and she takes a recording of him so that, you know, he can be seen finally by everybody. It's like supposed to be an endearing thing. But I don't know why I remembered it, but I was like, man, I remember that episode. And there's the dude that like nobody can remember. And maybe that's just me. I don't get it.
No, I think that's accurate.
You've got me curious now. I kind of want to find this episode so I can watch it later.
Oh, Dark Angel? It was on Fox in the late 90s.
If you ever get to meet me in person, because I know we've never met, I actually have both seasons on DVD, if that tells you anything about me.
Are they regionless?
If I borrow that, I'll forget who to give it back to.
You also won't be able to watch it because it's probably not regionless DVD. So like you take it to your DVD player in New Zealand and be like, fuck, Americans strike again.
There are tech solutions for that.
There are definitely tech solutions for that. I have hacked a codec and many a DVD player in my day. But at any rate, this is a Flesh and Blood show, allegedly. And Flesh and Blood was played, not by me. Darick, was any played by you?
Not in person, which, you know, I've said before, like I don't count that. I've been playing games on Talishar trying to prep for the 1K that I hope to attend on Saturday. I already did this whole thing where I talked to Ben. Ben, if you're listening, I'm going to try to make it to the 1K. I've ordered some cards. I'm putting my faith in Min-Max.
In Peter, good luck.
Yep. Hopefully they make it in time. If not, I might hit you up to borrow some stuff, but I have all the assassin side of things. It's just like some of the ninja stuff that I was missing. But I'm going to be playing a Dagger Ira list, so that will be in person. But yeah, I've been playing games on Talishar just trying to get reps in.
And then Josh, did you make it to an armory or anything? I know sometimes you do go play.
Oh man, I was really geared up to go to an armory, and then I forgot that it was the wrong day and I had missed the armory. Armories are the armory that I go to is on a Saturday night, and I got to, I think it like starts at like 5 o'clock, and I got to about like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I was thinking, man, I can't wait to go to the armory tomorrow. And then I was like, wait, what day is it? I'll look at my watch. Fuck me. I was all geared up as well because I've got like, you know, I've got all this this chaff that I was like going to like give to some of my locals because they're looking for like some older cards from like, you know, Hunted or Outsiders or Monarch and that sort of a thing.
Those are older now. Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? And I was like, I've got all this stuff. I'll bring it down to the armory. Like people can just like, you know, feast on it and whatnot. I'll play my Teklevossen deck. I'll have a really good time. And then I was like, I've just like missed the whole armory because I thought it was a friggin' Friday.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm geared up. I'm going to go to the armory this weekend. 100% going to make it. Even if it kills me, I have to go because I've been needing to play some Flesh and Blood for the last couple of weeks.
I did find out that the upper limit of cards that can fit into one pocket of my WTR set binder is 13 because that's how many copies of Red Sink Below I jammed into that bitch.
Oh my God.
And that's not counting the foils, the pink Sink Belows, the London Sink Belows. That's just the German Sink Belows. That's just the unlimited red WTR Sink Belows. And I was like, well, if anybody needs those, got them covered. So there's that. But there was holy shit, I forgot events on here. I'm stupid. There were 3 events this weekend. We had a calling and battle hardened. So, that's 2 events in Shizuoka. And then we had a battle hardened in Paris, I believe, which was team. And then there was also a battle hardened in Guadalajara. So that's pretty good. Oh, it is Brainiac. I remember that episode now. I'm on Charmer just like slapping the episode name of the Dark Angel episode we just talked about in our chat, and then just like triggered like core memories of sitting and watching Dark Angel in 1997.
Yeah, I used to watch it with Sophie. Like, she loved that show.
Yeah, and so the calling in Shizuoka was not won by most represented deck KO Armed and Dangerous, who had a hot 5% conversion rate into day 2, which was everybody's call to be the deck that LL during ProQuest season before Worlds. Not sure on that one.
Still could.
It's still good, but I don't think so. But your top 8 was 2 Syndra, 2 Gravy, a Florian, a Rhinar, a Verdance, and a KO Armed and Dangerous, with Takayuma Kojima winning on Syndra in a Syndra versus Gravy matchup, just like LSS intended, I guess. That just seems like the chalk matchup to just kind of put into some pairings, and it's what AI would have done. So that we'll call this a Chat GPT calling. And I think it's interesting though that they take some points off Gravy, give some points back to Florian. Florian comes back up. Gravy goes down a couple slots. Syndra just turns out to still be good because Syndra. But then the assassins just disappear, like they're just gone.
I'm very surprised that there are no assassins in top 8.
The bonds hit, I think, was more than people bargained for. And
I still think it's a really strong deck though. Like it certainly can pull out a lot of like damage out of nowhere, especially Slippy. Like it can. Deck.
So here's the thing. I think personally that both Slippery Boy, Slippery Boy, and Uzuri can still potentially be strong, but the big thing is that they both have to be built very different from the way that they had been. Like, that's the problem. I've said before that I actually think that there's likely a very strong like dagger version of Slippy that people have just not like done enough with. I think Savor Bloodshed is a hell of a card. I think all the dagger stuff that like works for the ninjas works just as fine with the assassins. Yes, you're paying a bit more for like the overrate thing, but you're also you get some other stronger, cheaper attacks to make up for it, right? So there's trade-offs, but I do think that there's a build there. Uzuri, kind of the same thing. I think Uzuri was already slept on before because when Slippy was really popular, she had the potential to just prey on that list anyway, and nobody was really doing it. And I think that there's still room for her to be good in certain matchups, but people are just not doing it. I don't understand why.
Yeah. I think that you spelled it out. It's good into certain matchups, but it doesn't have that generic damage output that it used to have, where, and then also just the surprise of here's a bonds, what you want to do. And being
but Missouri was good before bonds existed too, though.
Sure.
Like isolate.
Was she?
Yeah.
She won Worlds. She won Worlds.
She won Worlds. Like I isolate into big attack plus playing like mid-range value stuff, whether it's your 0 for 4s on offense or defense, is still fine. It's like, I get that it's not sexy, but it's still fine.
I mean, but it's not. We're in the age of, if you're not doing 20, are you even trying? And Uzuri is definitely not trying. So I'm not sure that she's livable in that spot.
I think other aspect as well is like, Gravy also sets up the expectation that you need to be able to clear allies pretty reliably or pretty efficiently. And
or just say fuck them and not care.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but then like that sort of comes into the whole discussion of like you need to be putting out some big numbers to compete with Gravy on aggro.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they get Chum out, it's sort of like, all bets
Kinda
are
over.
off.
Yeah.
I think Gravy is doing a lot to keep, like, even with the powering down with the banning of Tipple. I think Gravy is doing a lot of work to keep a lot of these other decks down, because that is a check for them, is can you clear these allies or can you deal an enormous amount of damage consistently? And unless you sort of like meet that threshold or meet that bar, you're not really going to clear, or it's very hard to clear it into day 2, let alone the top 8.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, that's sort of like where KO comes in, right? Like KO has got some additional tools now to be able to deal with, multiple allies. But the question is it enough? Like, you get some rigor mortis or like some other low health allies on board, and all of a sudden you have to send, some massive damage attacks into them.
Yeah. You're sending 6 into something and you don't want to send 6 into.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like, I think it sort of makes sense in the grand scheme of things, like why we don't see Azuri up there with the other assassins. Maybe you could have an Azuri on a good run and just avoid some Gravies and praise on some other decks. But I think eventually, if they do match up with that Gravy, especially in top 8, they're going to have a really tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think ally classes exist and they can't hurt me.
Oh, it's like arcane damage.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who's played historically a bunch of classes that have always struggled into prisms, into Dromais, now into Gravies, like, they just don't factor into my thought process anymore.
It's same with Spectra for me, to be honest.
I hate Spectra so much. That was before your time, right, Josh?
Well, so I started with Welcome to Wraith, so I lived through the Spectra era as a player. I mean
the rules era.
Yeah, I mean, so it was after Monarch. So after Monarch, I became Rules and Policy Manager, and then I went straight into Tales of Aria Everfest. Everfest was the first one that I proofed. So that was some good.
That's
fun.
Why that set's so fun.
Right. And Josh cannot be held personally responsible for Spectra.
Yep. That's right. That's right, people.
Now, we can hold you personally responsible for the lack of an Oxford comma in Down But Not Out, but that's a different story altogether.
No comment.
Yeah.
I heard you got another spoiler, though.
We did. Did you watch our video?
Yes, I did.
You were in it.
I was in it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was one of the videos out there. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Greg did a hell of a job with all of it. He had this weird idea, and he was kind of pitching it to Charmer and I. And Charmer and I weren't even really listening to the pitch because we just were going to be okay with whatever Greg wanted to do in the first place, knowing that it was going to be great. And so we just let him take like a brush at it, and with what we did, he asked me, can you they put a post out there, put a video out there to kind of look like you're egging me on. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can throw a heal video out there. That's not a problem. And then we kind of got into it, and he was showing like what he wanted to do. And he gave us a rough cut, and our notes were so fucking minimal off the rough cut. We were just like,
yeah, and the worst part is the one notes that I did give him still didn't make it in. Like, I'm still pissed about that, Greg. How dare you?
Well, he did put the one note in there that we both really wanted, which was putting John Cena in the credits.
Oh, yeah, he did do that.
You can't see him. So how would you know if he was there or not?
And it's a Super Slam set, so...
Yeah, so you have to presume John Cena.
When he sent the proof, he's got, like, in the video, there's that sequence where he's, like, pacing around in his living room. And I said I didn't want him to feel like anxious about it the entire time. I wanted like a quick cut of him slacking off. So I was like, I want you to be pacing and then have very briefly him sitting on the floor playing with like the car,
the Hot Wheels,
the Hot Wheels thing. I was like, just cut to that and then cut back to the pacing.
Right. It made me like
you, Craig.
It made my like entire face hurt when he opened a bottle of beer with his teeth. But that one, I was like, whoa, that's some torture porn shit from where I'm from. And but ultimately, like we were just super happy. It was super fun. Greg is wildly talented. He is cooking some shit up for 208.
I cannot wait for 208. It's gonna be
God,
gonna be a blast. I mean, let's be clear. I am happy that I have held the record as long as I did. I don't know if I'm going to try and beat your 208 episode.
The 24 hours. Yeah. That's a long one.
Is that even going to be like? Is that even going to upload to like Spotify as like a podcast? Is that
we'll cut apart? Yeah, we'll cut we'll either record something specifically for the podcast,
right?
Or we will cut pieces out of the live stream and then cut them together as a podcast. I'm guessing we will probably just record an actual show that same weekend and release it as normal.
Or we could just have during the 24-hour period
that was the other one, is we could just
show,
literally do a live show and then cut that portion out of it for Spotify for the audio only.
I mean, if you did that, would you transition into an After Dark in like the last hour of the 24 hours or?
100%. Yeah, we would start going into some very dark territory at some point, but that's just due to pure derangement after 23 hours of absolute nonsense at that point. I know that a lot of people have been, including yourself, have volunteered to some of their time to like come and fill time, and the entire time, like, so you can get some rest. I'm like, no, that sounds like too much fun. I don't want to not be on that part. Like, right. No.
You can't have fun while recording a podcast. What is this?
Yeah, what is this nonsense? Why would you not like do the cool shit? Like, that's definitely when you should be on.
This isn't a hobby, it's a responsibility.
Some days, man, there are some fucking weeks where I don't have an Eduardo Thariento or a Josh Scott. I just have fucking Chuckles over here with his goddamn smug charmer bullshit face staring at me, and I just think, you know what?
I mean, you could just forget about me.
No, I haven't.
Everyone else does.
Yeah, but I can see through you, so I will always remember you. I know what your organs look like, and you should get that checked. You really should get that checked.
Well, I have more organs because more organs means more human.
Than human?
No. More organs means more human. It's an Invader Zim quote.
I'm well aware.
Man, I love that episode.
Jonan Vasquez is a genius. I don't care what anybody says. There was actually there was a battle hardened in Shizuoka as well. It was Living Legend. It was won by Nova-chan on Viserai. Top 8 was a little homogenized, and by a little, I mean it was you either were playing Ninja, Runeblade, or were wrong. So we have 2 Zen, 2 Ira, a Briar, 2 Chain. How many chains?
2 chains.
2 chains. And a Viserai, who's the eventual winner. Starvo, again, 9th place. So our boy might just be a 9th place anchor now, because I think that's 3 in a row that there was no Starvos in the top 8.
Yeah, 9th. That sounds about right. I'm actually quite surprised that Starvo didn't make it in this time, but I don't know. Well,
yeah, looking at this, so Briar can fight Starvo now. Like, that is something that happened with the additional Starvo bans, getting rid of Somersault, or making Somersault less prevalent. And now there's a hope for Briar to fight that matchup, and it's actually a fair fight for the most part. Zen is Zen, and it's fully powered. And so if they just hit their turn, it doesn't really matter what you did. Is if they got to have that turn, you're probably dead. And then Zen has the ability against your chains and your Viserais to make a Zen state. That both Chain and Viserai have started leaning into playing Condemned to Slaughters to try to, get out of that bind as quickly as possible. They've also started. I know that a lot of players are looking at other cards to deal with auras, or just other cards to create, to create discards points to try to slow down the opposing aggro decks, because shit's fast. Ira is as good a value engine as there's ever existed with Zephyr Needle. Like, as pure numbers go, turn over turn, it's really hard to find something better than what they can do. Chain is chain. There's just no better way to describe it. Chain is chain, and got a tasty little card from Super Slam to help out in some of those matchups. And so, yeah, you have, like, this is shaking out to be what I would mostly expect the calling in Philadelphia to look like, is similar to this. Play Starvo. Starvo's still good. Or play a Ninja, or play a Rim Blade, or risk being wrong.
You think it's going to be pretty representative of the LL at Worlds as well?
I think so. Yep. I think that this is pretty close. Again, I would not be surprised, especially being US based in Philadelphia. I really wouldn't be surprised if Starvo did better, largely because US Starvo representation is usually very high, just generally speaking in a tournament. Also, people in the US tend to pet deck more on fringe decks. So you'll end up with Icelanders and Verdances, and a lot of people just kind of trying to do those things again. You'll end up with quite a few CYB decks trying to do that again. So you'll end up in a much different looking meta. But I think when you shake this all down, you're looking at the best burst turns we've ever seen in Zen. The most consistent numbers we've ever seen in a deck in Zephyr Needle Ira. One of the more, turn over turn pressure builders are in Chain and Briar. Like, they just turn over turn. Like, Briar keeps the channel for 2 turns. Chain has 2 back-to-back big turns out of the graveyard, out of the banish zone with Blood Debt, and be able to chain attacks together with an Art of War. Those 2 consistent turns, they're not necessarily as big a burst as Zen's going to do, but they are consistently chained together, making them much more difficult to handle. And Viserai can kill you multiple ways. They have 3 separate game plans out of the same deck that they can operate with incredible efficiency. They can try to stack you, they can try to aggro you, or they can try to play mid-range into a small, Sonata off of Scalata to just like end the game after playing a little bit more of a control matchup. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what it looks like. It feels. Oh, by the way, I've been playing quite a bit of LL. That's what I've been doing, because I think I'm pretty well locked in on what I want to play for Pro Quests. I will play Kasai until I'm bored or win one. And then if I get bored, I'll play Syndra. And then if I just want to be spicy at the end of it and haven't won one, I'll probably play something like a Florian, just cause. It's like playing Briar, but with less fun. So yeah, I think that is going to be indicative of what we see in Philadelphia for the calling.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see that the second Battle Hardened in Philadelphia is full?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Hey.
So need a third.
Battle Hardened?
I honestly, I said this on the Table Pit show that I was on, Pit Against or whatever, the call-in show, where that got brought up by Will, and I was like, wait a second, shit, time to add a third. And the only thing I could think of is if you did like a Silver Age or something along those lines. It's kind of like a coming out party for a Battle Hardened, mainly because you can then still run that one and then have your judge staff for that event come free before the end of the other 2 Battle Hardens to kind of flex back into those 2 events as they reach their pinnacles, and have them available for the endings of those 2 tournaments. So you could kind of weave them in easier. I don't think you could put another CC or LL Battle Harden in there. I don't think that's feasible.
No, I mean, like, the logistical constraints, especially like as we're getting so close to Worlds now, like we're locking in our staff. We've locked in the vast majority of our staff, and there's so little change that we can make now to accommodate, more large events and that sort of a thing.
Right.
Right. Although, it just sort of depends. Like, maybe we might be able to slot in another Battle Hardened, but that's sort of up to the Premier OP team and the judge team, like Klaus, the judge manager, who works quite closely with the OP team. He'll sort of be in on that to work out whether or not they are going to be doing another event. But that's so cool to hear that they've got they've got 2 Battle Hardens completely full now, because it shows people's appetite to be able to play Flesh and Blood. That's awesome.
Yeah, the communication's pretty consistent. We want to play more Flesh and Blood. That's really it. That's the communication.
Yeah.
Let's keep it up.
There was another Battle Hardened in Guadalajara, won by Eric Dauernheim. Man, that's going to be a rough one for me. On Verdance, top 8 there was 2 Verdants and a Cilio, a Syndra, a Florian, or 2 Florians, a Riptide, and a Victor.
What?
Right. So remember those heroes we talked about in the prior top 8 of a CC event? Yeah, Syndra and Florian are the only 2 that made it through. The rest of them are different. I guess there's one Verdance too, so Verdance made it through too.
Yeah, Verdance doesn't surprise me for sure. Like Verdance winning, I think.
But Victor and Riptide? Anybody?
Yeah. I'm not surprised by Riptide.
Really?
I'm actually not surprised by Riptide. I am surprised by Victor.
I've long thought that it was just a matter of time before Azalea players kind of figured out how to do a similar game plan in Riptide. Obviously, the play styles aren't 1-to-1, but there's still really powerful effects there. Getting bait is great. Card is actually kind of silly.
Yeah, we need to have a discussion on that shit.
I think some people were kind of like hesitant to gauge the power level because, figuring out how it works and what it's exactly trying to do at first glance, especially if you're not a Ranger player, especially if you're not a Riptide player and you're not,
or if you just don't know how to fucking read, like I don't, because
sure, that too. But I just mean like the idea that it's also setting you up so that you can trigger whatever traps you want as Riptide, et cetera, et cetera. Like it does all these things. And I think it was just going to take some players some time to, adjust, but like Ranger still has really powerful stuff. That didn't change. And when I looked at the Rangers available, I personally think Marlin looks really cool. I just don't think she has enough oomph there yet. So if it's not her, right? Like it's got to be Riptide, and he does powerful stuff anyway. So I'm not surprised. I don't think he'll be a mainstay, but him like dark horsing into a top 8 is less surprising than an actual horse making the top 8, because I still don't think that deck is real.
No, Victor is a glue factory deck that happened to make it into a top 8 of a Battle Hardened. There's no coverage that I know of for this one, so I haven't been able to like kind of suss out how that all worked. But the fact of the matter is that there are times where Victor will line up the decks that Victor lines up against well. He lines up really well, and the rest of them are uphill.
Yeah, like if he just runs into like Syndras all day long or whatever, then you're probably fine. But
right, it's when you see, a Gravy, like that's rough, or a Florian, and Florians were there. No Gravies is still wild though.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the most surprising thing about it to me. Like, I mean, Riptide and Riptide, making it into top 8 is surprising, but like seeing no Gravies in top 8 is kind of.
I do also. So, like, I personally wonder if that's also the reason why the top 8 is the way that it is, because I'm just wondering like what the representation stuff was. If there's not a lot of Gravies in the field to begin with, then it makes total sense that a Victor would make it, right? Because the natural predator is just not as plentiful. And I think that part of the thing is we've just become so accustomed to gravies being very popular. Like I've long said, like, yeah, the deck is powerful, but I felt like a lot of the conversion was also just because of the sheer popularity of the hero. But if you do have, an event where your local meta or whatever is just not a bunch of gravy players, then stuff like this can happen. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I would be interested to figure out what the representation was then. Because, like, you are right. Like, if you do dodge your bad matchups, your good matchups are really good. So you do have the opportunity to make it up there.
I'm just looking right now because I'm curious. 4 gravy bones in the entire event.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's not a lot.
Nope. That sure isn't. I'm just double checking to see if my eyes deceive me, and nope. And in this event, yeah, I think you had more puffins than gravies. That's wild.
All right. Well, then, but my theory stands then, right? Like what I was saying makes a lot of sense. If your natural predators are gone and a deck that has historically really popular is no longer there, then yeah, you're going to see outcomes like that.
Yeah, I'm just double checking. I think it might be there is 1 less puffin than gravy. But that's still like, okay, that's wild. But such is life. I mean, if you don't really want to try to figure out the gravy side of, or how to change the gravy deck post ban to play a little bit more of a controlling version to a degree, yeah, you play something else. So I mean, that might be what we're seeing.
I'm an advocate for playing the decks that you like, and if you don't like gravy, then play something else.
Right. And I'm just looking at I see that Brendan Patrick was in the event, so welcome back, Brendan. And then also I see the name Fernando Valenzuela, and I know it's not the Fernando Valenzuela, but I want it to be the Fernando Valenzuela. But he was the legendary baseball pitcher.
I see.
But yes, that one's fascinating. I gotta think that a piece of this is definitely localization. We've talked about that before, where you don't necessarily have the same representation in a standalone battle harden that you would in a calling. Like there's going to be a little bit more homogenization in a calling, even though it's a larger event. Additionally, regional bias also takes hold when you start talking about standalone battle hardens. So that might be part of it too. But interesting how different that top 8 is, for sure. But now it's time to get into what the things that we know everybody cares about the most, specifically us, the rules, because we can't read or anything like that. So we need somebody to tell us what's going on. Luckily, the person that, is in charge of the rules deigns to give us the time of day. So it's nice. That's you, by the way, Josh. If you didn't. Yay. So first off, I am going to go start with, what the fuck is with this bait shit? Like, who the hell's fever dream was that?
I don't actually know where it came from, but like it was pretty clear what it was trying to do. It was like when it came across my desk, it was in a pretty sorry state, like in terms of how it was meant to work, because it's
compared
very
to this
specific. Like, oh, trust me, if you had seen the first iteration of it, the idea was essentially like, obviously we want to turn on Riptide's traps. We want to stop them from doing anything on their turn. We want them to be, if they get 2 baits, they need to be able to clear those baits essentially, but they shouldn't be able to do anything else. And the specific wording that we had to like nail down for this was like so specific to like all of these circumstances. And there are lots of pros and cons, like moving forward and whatnot. I think we landed on something which is okay for now. Like it can become problematic in the future, in which case we may like look to address it at that point. But I think that it serves the purpose for now. So the primary idea was like, Riptide needs to turn on the traps, and you basically force the opponent to make that decision of, do I get rid of the bait and lose my turn, or do I get rid of the bait and turn on Riptide's traps and try and play out my turn after that? That's essentially all it was. But getting to that point, a little bit tricky.
So how often do you just get like a bracketed outline of a pseudo idea and you have to go, shit? Well,
I mean, most of the time I get cards like in a pretty complete state. Like the devs have been playing, like when we're talking about like pre-production proofing. So this is like the devs have played with it, they've balanced the card, they know what they want the card to do, they send it over to me. Usually the cards are pretty complete in terms of like their syntaxing or like the words that are on them. But sometimes like these like little tricky cards, especially the expansion slot cards, sort of explore quite either nuanced or like new ideas. And when we have like our rules meetings and whatnot, we'll talk about like, okay, let's ignore the wording on the card for starters. Just tell me how you guys have been playing this. Like, what do you guys want? Because I can try and infer what the devs have been playing from the wording, but that doesn't always like reflect the intention. So what I try to do is get down to the idea of like, how did you guys play this? What was your intention with this card? In these edge cases, what do you want to be able to do? Like, what if somebody has 2 bait? Like, what if somebody like, do you want them to be able to play defense reactions once the bait is out? Like, these sorts of things influence minute changes to the syntax and minute changes to the text on the card that then come through in the final product. And bait, it was a very, very rough draft of what they wanted, but they knew how they wanted it to play, essentially.
So you basically get fed here's what we've been doing with this card. We don't exactly know how it should be worded. Word it.
Yeah, yeah. And I get a few of those every set. Like, I'm trying to think. In Super Slam, Truth or Trickery was like a big one. There was a lot to unpack with Truth or Trickery, and
the old switcheroo, I'm sure, was one of them.
Oh, the old switcheroo, yeah. that friggin' card, man. I saw it come through, like, even before the devs handed it off to me. I saw that card and I was just thinking, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with this card? All right, let's simplify it. Let's like drill it down. Because at one point we were looking at the iterations for the old switcheroo, where if you reveal an opponent's card, it's as if the U on that card referred to the person who was revealing. And that got super tricky, because if you did like the old switcheroo and then you both like showed overturn the results or something, you're like controlling an opponent's overturn the results to apply it to an effect through old switcheroo onto the clash effect, and it just got wildly complicated. And we're like, right, stop this, let's simplify it. You only refers to the people controlling the card or the owner if there's no controller, and that just like eliminated all the bullshittery that people would encounter.
Yeah, there was some tomfuckery involved in that, and like reading it and explaining it to people, or trying to explain it to people on our end too. Like, what was this like? So if this does this and this, I'm like, no, that is not how, that can't be how that works. Like, this is definitely you is the person that owns the card. It is not the person revealing the card. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was just like the simplest way to go about it, because otherwise you just get into this weird situation. Like, even having to classify it in the rules, like, the upcoming update for the CR is going to clarify like what U means. And it's like, all right, U means the controller of the card or the owner if there's no controller. But if you end up having these effects that, like, if you reveal the card, the U refers to the person who revealed the card, like, it just makes the rules so messy and complicated. And then even just like having to explain to somebody, why does U mean this? And it's like, let me find you the 3-digit code for the rules in the rule book, and you can read the 5 examples where they go into it. And,
I know more than one person that memorized a lot of those codes.
Yeah.
They're not well people. Neither are we, but different reasons. The easiest one in this entire set is cheering and booing. It's nothing unless it says it's something. It's just they cheer you or they boo you, and has no effect as a blanket state. It's just a thing that if this happens, it could potentially have an effect. It doesn't necessarily have an effect.
Yeah.
It doesn't have its own effect. That one was easily understandable even for morons like me.
Yeah, it's just a triggered version of stealth.
Yep. And there's no cancellation. Part of the crowd can be cheering, part of the crowd can be booing at the same time. They've done both. So somebody cheer, causing the crowd to cheer and somebody causing the crowd to boo, they've done both that turn. Like, that's it.
Yep.
There's no cancellation.
Spare me your booze. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, and then we turn face on them. Auras of suspense were a weird one.
I didn't think so.
I thought so because there are, and Josh actually puts this on here. I only thought of 2 of these, but sure. But listed in the article, it says suspense has 3 unique features. 2 suspense counters are added to the aura of suspense as it enters the arena. Sure. So it's not a trigger. It isn't ever a spot where it doesn't have the counters when it enters. It always has them when it enters. At the start of your turn, you remove a suspense counter. Easy. At any time the aura of suspense has no suspense counters on it, the effect will trigger and destroy the aura. This is the one that caught me because of timing rules, right? Does this go on the stack when the last counter is removed immediately?
That's
Okay.
exactly right. There are some like really cool tricks that you can do to like manipulate counters and like save auras and that sort of thing. Like, so at the start of your turn, you remove a suspense counter, and because it's the start of your turn, so that's in the start phase, there's no priority. So you can't respond to your aura being destroyed. But if you get into your action phase, for example, and you've got a suspense aura with 1 counter on it, you can essentially use Pallades to remove the suspense counter from that aura, and then that causes it to trigger in the action phase immediately. So you can basically be like, cool, it's 1 suspense counter on it. Cool, I want it to trigger this turn. Remove it, go ahead and put it on another aura, and then off we go. But there are other aspects where, like, if there are effects or anything that like manipulate suspense counters, moving them, especially into the future of the design space of suspense, you would be able to save an aura as well by, it has none. The trigger goes on the stack, let's say during the action phase or whatever. I will put a counter back on it, and then, there's a counter on it, so the trigger fails to resolve. It's what we call a state-based trigger, and there's very, very few in the game of Fab. Phantasm is a state-based trigger, famously. But there's some very, very cool interplay in some future design space that can be explored because of how suspense works. And I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and so importantly, the auras of suspense do have the text of when this leaves the arena. So eventually bouncing these...
There's no eventually. There's already ways to do it.
Sure, you can bounce these to create their effects and then replay them.
Yep, absolutely.
So there's a lot of cute shit that you get to do with just doing that.
Once we get some sort of like guardian that can just like flicker consistently.
Well, I mean, there's already some of those tricks with Pleiades, and I like to think of, when I see those builds, they're really just trying to play their guardian a little bit like Acilio with the sigils and some of those tricks. Right. And it makes sense when you think about it, because I'm pretty sure Pleiades plays electric guitar.
Why do I put up with you? Can you answer that question? Like, is that possible?
Because he provides a good measure of balance to this podcast.
Okay, I guess.
And entertainment.
Yep, he sure does. I'm sure that's a big part of it. Moving on. Now, this is one that actually I thought makes this make more sense than it used to. So power modifications. So the way that you have this reading is first apply effects that set the base power. Sure. So KO, Lyeth. Lyeth, no, because that's divide the base power. 2 is apply effects that multiply the base power or defense. And then it's divide. So set, multiply, divide, increase, decrease, right?
Yep.
Now, what's notable here to me is that multiplying is not increasing.
Yes. So the idea of this, and this is sort of explored a little bit more in the other rules reprise, the constructed rules reprise, which follows this particular one. But it talks about the idea that modifications to the base power don't count as increasing or decreasing. The idea is that you have effects that set the starting point for the power, which is what base power is. And when you then establish, or once you've finished establishing where the starting point of the power value is, then you consider anything that changes it, any modifications, as increases or decreases. And that's a really important aspect for considerations of other cards that prevent you from increasing and decreasing too.
Right. So I did get some questions from people when this all kind of came out, and they're basically asking, does this mean that multiplying isn't increasing? And I'm like, I will ask Josh, but that is how it reads. However, we have known, because of our troubles with the Oxford comma, that isn't necessarily how things operate. So, let's get a clarification first. That's the last Oxford comma dig I'm going to make.
Yeah,
I promise.
that's fine. That's all right. You've got a few more, I think, until friendship starts to strain. But I think we're all good there.
When do we get the constructed rules reprise?
So that was the 26th of September. So that wasn't too long ago now.
I actually don't see it in the articles, which is weird. But let me look here, because the website changed.
Yes, the website did change.
How does that make you feel that the website changed? Was that a you thing?
I was involved. I was not the main driving force. We've got a brilliant tech team that have been working quite diligently on migrating the old site to the new site, which was an enormous friggin' endeavor that they managed to overcome. So incredible congratulations to Yarrick and the team. I love the new site. Once we've sort of got past a few of the extra bugs that I'm sure a few people have sort of picked up on. I think that this is going to be an incredible way to start launching out more content and providing better services to the players as well. So I'm super thrilled about the new site for sure.
I'll say it looks prettier, I think would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think it's leveled up in terms of the age as well, because I feel like the old site was a little bit dated in terms of the layout, the structure, the content, how the content was presented and whatnot. And this just feels a lot more clean and modern and chic. Mind you, I don't do user experience UI stuff anymore, so I'm a little bit outdated as well, but this just feels
here's the thing, you're a user though, so your experience still matters.
Yeah, true.
So it's interesting because so it redirected me to the legacy site when I went to reference the limited rules reprise. And if you search the legacy site, the constructed rules reprise isn't on it.
Yeah,
and so I had to go back to the new front end. And it's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple of bugs and pages to migrate and whatnot. I know that there are a couple of issues with the release notes at the moment, so I'm trying to figure that out this week to make things happen. But I think
my favorite.
I think that the most important thing is that we continue to improve, we continue to sort of push the boundaries on where our tech is and what we're capable of, because then we can just continue to provide better and better things.
Yeah. I think that this is also cute. Things like you reference a good clean fight, and how we can just
and infiltrate. That's what I was getting ready to say. I think my favorite thing is anytime I get infiltrate.
Yeah. I also enjoy the if they send a good clean fight at you, you can just single block it with a 10-foot tall and bulletproof, and your intellect stays exactly the same.
Yeah, that's great, right? And
just single block.
You
cover that 10.
You can play reckless swing into it without discarding a card.
Mm-hmm.
So
you still don't get the damage.
Since we have Josh here, I want to ask him if I was right with this. So I'm always thinking about weird infiltrate shenanigans, and we did just talk about bait. So bait specifically says you can't play or activate cards you own. But I had said if I infiltrated them the turn before and I've banished one of their cards, I posited that I should still be able to play that attack against them because I do not own that card. I have banished their card.
Yes, that's correct.
Infiltrate.
I love you.
I'll make him happy.
There's some funky stuff with bait. So there is actually a way to lock yourself out of the game with bait. Steal Victory allows you to steal an aura token the attacking hero controls. If the opponent has 2 baits, attacks with one of them, you defend with Steal Victory, you steal the other bait, and you were the one who created the baits in the first place.
No.
You can lock yourself out of the game. Now, be aware, this can only work in a UPF game where somehow you are able to take the bait as somebody who has Steal Victory in their deck, which is only possible with things like
Yorick.
Yeah, Yorick, for example, or like multiple infiltrates against like other heroes in UPF. So it requires a stupid setup, but it is possible to acquire a bait token that you own, and then just not play the rest of the game.
Challenge accepted. I do enjoy that. Overturn the results can return the results of a victor clash, but then victor can still pay to overturn those results potentially.
Yeah. So the idea is like you can if you like clashing, the turn player has precedence over who applies their the outcome replacement effects first. And so you're advantageous if you're the turn player in that scenario. And you can be like, cool, I want you to apply your overturn the results. And then I can apply my victor after that to overturn the result. You still get booed. I still get essentially the win because I can, victor your overturn the results. There's some really cool, like, interesting interactions with outcome replacement effects just for like how they function, how they work. And it's definitely the kind of thing that you'll find on the judge test, especially if you're going for your maintenance test for Super Saiyan 2.
Can I pitch something?
Mm-hmm.
Because Flesh and Blood has been doing, in my opinion anyway, a great job of doing homages to local culture. Right, whether it's the really cool British sink, or we've got the Philly cheesesteak stuff coming at Worlds, and even I go back to I still think that when the Queen died and you guys did the promo Regicide,
oh my god,
just fills me with so much joy. Right, so in that same vein, the next time that we run an event stateside that's in the DC area, if you will, can we get like a promo overturn the results that's just photos of January 6th? Is that a thing?
I knew it was coming. I fucking knew it was coming, and I didn't stop it, and I should have, and that's on me. I'm a bad host. I deserve everything I get. That's still
it's really funny to Josh because he doesn't live with it every day. Yeah, look, I'm in Michigan. Have you heard what's going on here?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's what's happening in Iowa.
There was a second incident today, by the way.
Great.
and potentially a third coming.
Great. Well, that happened, I guess. Yeah. Well, the superintendent of schools here got detained by ICE, so you know.
Oh yeah. I've been following your backyard.
Oh, it's not a good backyard right now.
Neither's mine.
My shit is overgrown and needs mowed. But the other one that I thought that like is really, really important to talk about that's still flesh and blood related. Thank you, Charmer Dick. Is quick dodge flexors and smash with big rock. So this is where that base comes into play again, right? Where can't gain defense, but you're not gaining defense. You're setting a base. Those are two different things.
Yep, that's right. And it just comes down to that principle of like, if you're doing anything to the base defense or the base power or whatever of an object, whether or not it's an effect that copies, something becomes another card, you're modifying the base by like doubling it or halving it. You're basically, all you're doing is setting the starting point for the calculation. It says, this is what the base is. This is what, step 0 is of the value. All right, from here, we apply modifications, and that is plus and minus. And, effects that stop you from gaining or interact with you gaining or losing and whatnot only interact with those particular effects or those particular modifications.
Yep. Another important one was discarding a 5 powers, KO armed and dangerous, and lose your ability from Liar's Charm. Does this still count as discarding a 6? Obviously, it's a yes, because it just counts when the card was discarded.
Yeah,
that's all it's looking at.
There's some really interesting stuff there too. Like, I don't know how many times you can take me saying that, but like,
infinite, honestly.
all of these things have like really interesting roots and like how they sort of came about and like the decision that we needed to make at the time. Like, I think the first instance of this one, so the rules reprise, for anyone who hasn't read it yet, and I highly recommend that you go read it so that you can become the rules experts at your locals. But the rules reprise says, if I discard a 5 power card as KO, armed and dangerous, then I lose my hero's ability from Liar's Charm. Does it count as discarding a 6? And the answer is yes. And that stems from the idea that when something happens to an object where it like moves zones and becomes like a new card, so gets destroyed and goes from the arena to the graveyard, or goes from like, your banish zone into your deck or something silly like that, the idea is that the card at the origin, so where it leaves, is what is discarded or banished or put into your hand or whatever. So there was like really early on, there was a way that you could, so like somebody plays, I'm trying to remember, what's the Leviah card that banishes it? Is it
Tear limb from limb?
Mark of the Beast.
Mark of the Beast. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So there was an interesting interaction where you play Mark of the Beast, and it says whenever this would go into your graveyard, instead banish it. And the opponent could blinding beam your Mark of the Beast. And when it gets banished, it doesn't count as banishing a 6 power card that turn, which means that they would essentially still have blood debt and could die. So you could like be really sneaky because you're basically modifying the power of this object before it goes to the banish zone, and that's what counts as the object being banished. So that sort of ruling or that sort of interaction goes all the way back to Monarch, where we made that particular decision. Which I've heard stories of people being caught out by that before and then dying to Leviah blood debt because they're like, oh, Mark of the Beast, I can play this and survive because it auto banishes.
And they're like, trinket.
There's some caveats.
Yeah, we can make this not work. But that's, I believe there was the tear limb from limb ruling.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that this doesn't work. I was a big KO, the original KO fan.
Same.
Yeah. So tear limb from limb doesn't work with that KO either, since I had to update the rules to be consistent. So the idea is that tear limb from limb doesn't necessarily work that well with Big Bully and KO underhanded cheat. The idea is that when you play Big Bully, it like gets put on the stack as a 4 power card, and that's the value that gets locked in for the value of X for tear limb from limb. And then once it becomes like, once KO goes ahead and activates ability and resolves, and Big Bully goes to the combat chain. Those are the things that modify the base power, but the base power doesn't modify the value of X anymore because that's locked in from TLM from Lim. So I'm sorry, Brute players, you can't be too good.
If you've already been booed and then you play Terror Limb from Limb, would Big Bully then count because you've been booed and so now it's doubled? Does that double effect take place in all zones?
No, the doubling effect only takes place on the combat train. And the idea comes from, it's not a property static ability, so it doesn't define the value of X. It's only a regular static ability that gets applied when it becomes, enters the arena. So while it's on the stack, it isn't an effect. When it gets revealed, it isn't an effect. Those sorts of things.
Yeah. And to be clear, I'd kind of figured that was the case just because there's that cycle of cards that have a high base and then they get smaller if you don't pay the one extra resource that is in this set. And I'm a huge fan of for like Clash and all of those purposes. Because I figured that's exactly what those are intended for as well, right? They're actually just meant to have that higher power when they're being either revealed or discarded or whatever. And then, then they still cost more if you actually play them. Or if you have a
spare resource, you just say, oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool way to explore like otherwise vanilla cards too. Like, in essence, in most cases, they're basically going to be your 0 for 4, your 1 for 5, your 2 for 6 vanilla cards with like no text essentially. But the fact that you're able to get essentially, a parity with those cards, but increase their ceiling just a little bit. Like it's still a cost. It's still like an extra little thing that you have to do for it, but it still implicitly has other benefits as well. Like I think that's a really cool way to explore otherwise like vanilla aspects to, putting these into the card pool.
Well, yeah, and it also causes them to have just little ancillary effects, like having something that you can you can send as a 2 for 6, but still Snapdragons it because it's technically a 1 cost. You're just paying the extra, so now you can still snap it because the cost is 1 on the card.
Yeah,
things like that.
Absolutely.
Yep. There's also the other reason that I really like them, Look Tough in particular. It is great for Rouse the Ancients because it's, again, just caring about the reveal. And then because it's the 3 as well, it can still also get dominated and do all of those things from like a traditional Bravo. So it's a generic that I've been thinking about trying to throw in my old aggro Bravo.
Yeah. You're not a good person. Oh boy. Well, moving on from there, we have merch. I'm wearing the hat. These aren't for everybody. These are.
You know what? Josh has merch too.
He does. Thank you, Trevor, for the hat again that you gave to Darick and not me. And then he's got a bee. Yeah, he's got merch. He's got real merch. He's got bees.
I've got Judge merch.
Yeah, there's Judge merch. So that is way cooler than standard LSS merch.
That's actually my second bee. My first one is currently up in the office that looks after the dev room when I'm not there.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Somebody needs to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they sure do.
I just realized I don't have a Flesh and Blood plushie.
No, there is only the one, right? There's only the bee.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what they're doing on the merch booth these days, but yeah. So for from the Judge program, there is only the plushie, the plush bee.
So
which is highly in demand, by the way.
I didn't get one when I covered Elder Scrolls, but I'm just thinking about all the different games I've covered. I have a Wampa for Star Wars. I have a Sand King that was gifted to me when I covered Artifact. I've got a Poro for Runeterra / Riftbound upcoming. I need a Meep.
Oh yeah, Yeah, Meep would be good.
A plush Meep. I love it.
How has he not, Charmer? How have you not killed this game yet? Because you've killed virtually every other game.
Well, so see, here's. Let me let you in a little secret, okay? I adore Flesh and Blood, but every week when you're like, "Hey, what did you do in Flesh and Blood?" Secretly, the answer is, I didn't play so the game could survive.
You're just making the sacrifice for everybody else.
Yes. Yes. I see of the joy that it brings to other people. So I'm like, you know what? I won't kill this one by playing it, because every other game I really fall in love with just dies.
How has Star Wars Unlimited not died?
Well, I mean, that's just Star Wars is like almost too big to fail, I think. But even then, like, it's not been, rosy all the time. But I mean,
one way to put it.
To their credit, I think they're doing a good job, all things considered. It was, yes, Fantasy Flight Games is an established studio, but it was their first like real shot at a true like trading card game. They've mostly done like living card games or, deck builders or board games, sorts of things. And so, there's going to be growing pains and stuff with that involved. But I mean, overall, it's been trending positive. So, yeah, I haven't killed that one yet.
Before I turn the aux cord over to Josh, which I'm going to do here shortly, I need to admit a point of embarrassment that I encountered last week. I went to boot up Slay the Spire because I wanted to play some Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire 2 got delayed. It made me upset. So I just wanted to play some Slay the Spire. I had not finished unlocking Ironclad. Ironclad is one of the first 3 fucking heroes and has been sitting in my Steam account for 5 years, at least, and had never been fully unlocked.
To be fair, Ironclad is the least interesting.
Boring as shit.
Yeah,
fucking boring.
It's understandable, a little shocking, but understandable.
The fact that I saw it and I was like, okay, what the? Well, I was looking at my achievements. I was like, what the fuck? I don't have the Ironclad achievement. That can't be. Oh, no, I never finished this. I don't even want to know what Ascension's on the defect and, have played the shit out of that class. Never finished unlocking Ironclad.
Weekend project.
Yeah, well, no, it's done now.
Oh, okay.
That became a carve out 3 hours of my life and just finish this up.
Yeah,
it couldn't. My completionist brain was glitching wildly at that point, and so I had to take care of it, or else I'd be sitting there in traffic thinking about, God damn it, if I just had this going on mobile right now on like a Steam Deck, I could be clearing Ironclad while in traffic. So we can't be having that.
It's a dangerous game you play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot better than my thoughts when I'm driving in traffic, but.
Well, you just want to turn around and go the other direction.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, well, that's good. Punchline? Any punchline? No?
Just going to leave it there. Leave it
there? Yeah, okay.
Out in the open.
Well, as per tradition, we have the guests always get to have their say for whatever they want to talk about. Could be anything, could be any genre, could be anything. So, Josh, whatever you want to talk about.
It's kind of caught me off guard. I don't have anything to prepare to talk about. I don't know. I haven't really been doing that much different in my life either to talk about.
Last time, didn't we send you like some homework movies and stuff to watch?
Oh, that's right. What was the Santa Claus one?
Violent Night.
Violent Night. Oh my friggity frick. That was a hell of a movie. So I downloaded it and watched it that night. I was like, oh, this would be great. I've got some time this evening to like chill out, eat my dinner, watch a movie. I've got a movie recommendation. I'm in the mood for like an action flick or whatever the fuck this is. I will go ahead and like prepare it and acquire it, and then I will watch it. And I was captivated from like 5 minutes in. I was like, where the hell is this going? I have absolutely no idea. And that was just like throughout the entire movie. It was like if somebody did a Santa Claus parody of Die Hard, but took it so friggin' seriously. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot understate how much I loved that movie.
It's Home Alone with Die Hard and Viking with a Viking aesthetic.
Like
Sure.
normally like that like little like tidbit of the lore of the origin or whatnot of like Santa and this sort of thing would have like thrown me for a loop. I'd be like, that's a bit ridiculous. But considering the whole context of the movie, it just makes like it's just fine. Like I'm still captivated. I'm still immersed. Like it's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like he's a fucking Viking from like 2,000 years ago. Like I can totally dig this.
The guy jumping out the window and yelling parkour while he does everything just obliterates me every time. Parkour! Just fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And then he gets fucking laced up for his troubles. The entire Home Alone scene, just how brutal like that spike is going through that dude's
I was like,
and,
it's like if Home Alone was like an R16, R18 movie, like that's the kind of level of stuff I would go through. Few moments where I had a visceral cringe reaction at like some of those shots, but
and I don't know if they're a big deal in New Zealand, but the vacation movies are a huge deal here. So National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are a big deal here. And the mother in those movies is Beverly D'Angelo, who is the mother in Violent Night, and is radically different. And I'm just like, this is perfect. And the cast just crushes that movie the entire time.
I just feel
even
like
the snowmobile chase is just
like honestly, it had everything. It had everything that you'd want in an action movie. Like
when he puts the fucking grenade down the guy's pants and he's walking away doing like the epic action walk away. He starts goes, shit, I gotta watch. And then he just turns around and watches the dude explode. He comes walking back to holy shit.
Just outstanding. All right, so anyone who is listening to this podcast right now, if you have not seen Violent Night, go watch it. It is outstanding. If you're into action movies, if you're into Christmas movies, you'll love it.
It made my top 5 Christmas movies the minute I saw it.
It's
the absolute minute.
It might also be, I don't know about top 5, but it might be top 10 just for action movies and not Christmas movies too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it scratches top 10 for me.
Yeah, because it scratches literally every nostalgia itch that I have from like late 80s, early 90s movies. Like the best way that I can describe it, it's like if you took, your standard Bruce Willis or Jean-Claude Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren movie from that time period, and you were like, all right, now they're Santa Claus, go. Fine. Like that's it. But like in the best of ways.
Yeah. I mean, like even because I rewatched a few like 90s action movies and whatnot, and like they still are how I remember them, but like we've come a long way in terms of cinematography, in terms of scripting, in terms of pacing, in terms of like developing that sort of genre out, and it's essentially like take an 80s 90s action movie and just like modernize it and put Santa Claus in it, and you've just got a fucking amazing flick. Like it's just so good.
No, it is a no notes movie. There's no room for improvement. You have achieved a pinnacle of entertainment. Kudos.
I would have loved to be a fly in the boardroom where that movie was pitched. Like I just want to know like how much did it change from its pitch? Like were they shocked? Were they
barely any?
Were they just like fucking all in? Like
my guess, because you have to think it'd been a while since there was like a good, truly deranged Christmas movie. And we had hit that like peak Christmas movie conversation in, you know, in the sort of zeitgeisty talk, because everybody had their lists and they were, you know, were radically different. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? You know, all of that kind of discussion, which it is, and it is the best Christmas movie ever. But like that became like this giant piece of the discussion. So they just took and said, okay, what if we took the argument of is Die Hard a Christmas movie and eliminated any way for them to say it's not? Here.
Yep, absolutely. I'm looking at the writers for it as well. The writers, Patrick Casey and Josh Miller, they worked on like Hey Stop Stabbing Me, National Lampoon's Dorm Days 2, Transylmania, Shotgun Wedding, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3.
Oh
yeah.
Listen,
it's wild. It's so wild.
The guy that did, you know, the half of Key and Peele has written 3 of the best horror movies of the last 20 years. So
yeah, absolutely. That
like,
I think my favorite. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's done good stuff too.
You're an asshole. But I remember watching Get Out and just like was floored at how good that movie is. And even like watching it, because, you know, being somebody that likes older suspense and stuff, big Hitchcock fan, I'm listening and there's just like that Hitchcock undertone music. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're about to turn a fucking corner here. And then it gets wild. And you're like, okay, well, this is very Hitchcock. Like, I am in on this. This is really well done.
Yeah, I think because I watched Get Out and Us, and those were outstanding. I think I still have to see Nope. Have you seen that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope is good. Is very good.
Gotcha.
And Smile is very interesting. Jordan Peele doesn't direct him. That's the next one I have to see. That's out in theaters now. But I do believe he's a producer on it.
Yeah, I've got it up here now. He's a producer. Oh, they also did Keanu as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Keanu's fucking great.
That's a great movie.
The movie's a banger.
Oh god, I want to rewatch that now.
Oh yeah, you should just cue that shit up. So we're past that, and we only have so we're at 1 hour and 22 minutes with 16 listener questions, and a ton of them are multi-parters. Buckle up, buckaroos. Here we go. First one's from Geeks First. Congratulations on your upcoming episode 200. This one. What is your most memorable moment of all 200 episodes? What is the thing you're least and most proud of? Oh, fuck. Moments. Moments are hard. For a moment, I think it's when Trevor announced the US Nats location on our show. As far as a moment goes, you know, where we had an actual like breaking thing that was being announced on our show that was unknown up until that point. I thought that was really cool. And I really thought that was really cool of Trevor to do, to bring that on. Darick, do you have a different answer or an answer from memorable?
I do, but I don't know that it counts because it's technically not from an episode, but I do consider it part of the show.
Okay.
For me, it was casting German Nats with you.
Hell yeah. That was so much fun. Like, I cannot wait to run that back. And I hope it all works out that we get to do it in person. But the thing that strikes me about that is that we proved a point. And Heiner worked his ass off, and Fiorat worked his ass off to help to prove a point. And the point was that, yeah, this isn't the mothership cast, but we will get eyeballs if we put up something that people want to watch.
Yeah.
And we did. You know, we drew really well.
We do really well. And for me, it was also a moment because, I mean, obviously I love casting, so I will find any excuse to do it. It's nice to actually, do it with you. And, I've done other Flesh and Blood events, and I've done other events with you, but I'd only done like the one Pro Quest with you. It wasn't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it was just kind of nice that, after, 3 years really at that point, we finally got to do something like that together. But also, you're talking about like proving a point. For me, it was also kind of proving the point, not just that it would draw interest, but that we were able to, in my opinion, pull something off that probably should not have worked, which was, them playing across the globe and relaying it to us, and then us then broadcasting it out. And you know what I mean? Like the technical hurdles that we had to go through behind the scenes to do what we did.
They're crazy.
Yeah, but it also made it that much more satisfying. You know what I mean? Because like the ones that I think you always remember are the ones that you really had to work for. And there was definitely like 2 days of, panic prior to that.
Yeah, as we try to like, what's our best method for doing this? We were trying everything we could under the sun. We finally, really the three of you, because I was just confused, trying to like, came up with this daisy chain idea. It's like, what are the, will it work? Yes. What are the downsides? Well, Logan will never be able to see me to know like when there's a cue off of anything. So that made it really hard. And we had to like, the roles and how we do everything normally in our show and everything else is I do the driving, right? It's not because Charmer can't, it's because I'm a loudmouth. Don't shut the fuck up. And so the idea was that same thing. We were going to go, I was just going to do the driving because that's, what I do here. But then I couldn't because I didn't know when we were live because I couldn't get the cue. So Charmer had to take that over. And we had
I was also doing the scene changing.
Yep. And you were doing the scene changing and everything. And so you were doing, so you were doing like the tosses and everything and or then like leading me into a toss, which was, if we didn't have 100 and some odd episodes at that point in time of rapport, it never would have worked. But because we have done this for so long together, he would just start tossing like, okay, it's a toss. He's going to come to me. I'm going to toss out and then he's going to clear us. And then we're going to, yep. Okay. Got it. And so we were able to do all that non-verbally, no communication, by text. It was just, I knew where he was going with it. He knew that he could toss it to me and that I would take us out or vice versa and everything would work. So it was, that was not only memorable, but definitely a source of pride for the work about that working in general. And just always hats off to Fierat and Heiner for one, even considering that this could work. And two, just having the wherewithal to make it work. Like it was brilliant. Least and most proud of personally, they're the same, oddly enough. I have appeared on all 200 shows. I have been in this seat for 200 weeks. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that that in times where I just didn't want to do it, I did it anyway because I'm stubborn and I'm just a dumbass. I really thought about making this episode just a double loop of the movie The Room by Tommy Wiseau. I decided not to, but doing that was probably like in hindsight, if I were to go back in time and talk to past Logan, who still does not, current and past Logan do not give a shit about future Logan. That's for sure. I would say, the streak is cool. It's really good to have that thing going, but you can take a break. Like when you need it, you can take not somebody else can step in and do the hosting. You don't have to do that. And that probably is something that I will consider doing more once we're past 208. But if I get to hang my hat on 4 years of in the same chair, recording, doing the South Park method of just like everything is as fresh as humanly possible, jam it out, get it in hit people's hands as on time as possible. And that I did that for 4 years without ever missing. That'll be a source of pride for me. But I also realize that there are expenses, and there has not been free of times where I just didn't want to do it. And there are probably times I should have listened to myself, and I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of the fact that I wasn't smart enough about my own mental health and stuff to like take those breaks when I needed them. But I came out on the other side, so it all comes out as fine, but it doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
I hear you about the 4 years, but 5 is a nice round number. And also, hear me out. Then you could say that you're the five-time Flesh and Pod podcast champion. And then I could get a Logan Rooney.
I'm not doing that. My back doesn't work like that, bro. Like, no.
My favorite, or at least my least and most proud of moment for this pod as a listener is when Charmer mentioned facts don't care about your feelings as a pun.
I'm still mad about that one.
That's it.
I'm still so mad about that one. I
would just like to say that is my most proud moment.
Asshole.
The thing that I am least proud of, I would say, is sometimes I forget that people forget I'm doing a bit, and I shouldn't, because my wife tells me all the time that like nobody knows when I'm joking, and then it happens in person and nobody knows when I'm joking. And so sometimes like there has definitely been things I have said on this podcast, and then people have asked me about it later, and I'm like, dude, I was just fucking around. But I have a very monotonous delivery. I have resting angry face most of the time, or resting misery face most of the time.
There's the one.
And that's not even a bit. Like, that's legitimately, I've had several people approach me and be like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, I'm having a blast. Right. Like,
I mean, I've done that, and I know you really well.
It's just what it is. So like, it doesn't translate sometimes well to the podcast, that there will be things that I will say in jest. And especially it's also hard because my personal style of humor, outside of the puns, because they make everyone else miserable, my personal style of humor that I find the funniest are the things that I think are like extra absurd, right? Like things that are so absurd that they become funny to me, right? So most of the time, for example, I am pretty, self-deprecating, but every now and then I will say something incredibly boastful. And I do that mostly because I find that funny. Like, it's the inside joke to me of, sorry, I'm getting rid of a patelpa bug. They're crawling all over the place. But it's like an inside joke to me of like, it's so absurd that it's funny. But like in the moment when I say the thing, then people will think I'm serious, right? If I like do something boastful or whatever, or, similarly, if I will sometimes say, and it's not even just on this podcast, it's sometimes on the other ones as well. But I will say things that are very like antithetical to my beliefs, but I say it again, because in my mind, it's funny because the idea of me thinking that is so absurd. So like, to me, the bit should be obvious, but for people that are just tuning in for the first time, or people that, just don't know me the way that I know me, it comes off. So that's, what I think the least proud of, not just because I have done it, but because I know I'm going to keep doing it, because even though like I'm aware of it, it's a hard thing to turn off, because like in the moment, to me, it's funny to say the thing, but yeah, it just doesn't land.
No, that makes sense. That makes total sense, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Like not fab related, but on Ice Cave, I did this, like, it was meant to be a fake rant about how in that game there's a card that's called Fett's Fire Spray, right? It's his ship. And I
made a slave one joke.
I did the fake rant about, like, hey, you can't be changing stuff. It's, slave one, game's going woke, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, for fuck's
And people
sake.
thought I was serious.
Okay.
And it's just like, if you know me, like, I self-describe as a Molotov cocktail communist. Like, that is usually what I say. So it's just funny to me when I say those things, but I forget that
Not everybody knows that.
Yeah, not everybody knows that. And it's also fine if you just don't think it's funny because you think I'm mocking you, but in that case, like, I am. So that's fine. You can be mad at me for that, but
God damn it. Well, that's gonna show up on the YouTube comments.
Why wait for YouTube? Join our Discord.
Yeah, just hop on in.
Send me your complaints directly. Just send them. Sign in. I am JORMAN.
Yep. Every complaint should go there because that's definitely Charmer's at. The next one's from Michigan's #1 Kano enjoyer. Really?
I don't know if that is.
How do you measure enjoyment?
I think it's misery when you're a Kano player.
Well, so here's the thing, because I know there's a couple of diehard Kano players here in Michigan. So, like, I know Ben likes to play Kano, and it may be
That's
it's
not
him.
Ben. No, Ben's Chimney Dan.
But right, but there's also, like, Thorin, and then there's a few other folks that are further away from the, like, so I am in the Greater Lansing area, which is like the middle part of the Lower Peninsula, but we've also got some folks on other parts of the state. That's why whenever I'm planning for stuff, you always see me running like AB5 in my lists, because here in Michigan, I know I'm going to run into it the moment I don't put AB in.
Never going to get caught out by a Kano ever again, are we?
No. That's part of the reason I love Assassin. I just run all 4 Widows and an Arcane Lantern and say, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. AB5 Spell Void 4. Come on, let's go.
I don't think I've ever dropped AB from any of my lists ever since Arcane Rising came out. I was like, you know what? As soon as I fucking cut it, I'm just going to run into a Kano. I'm just going to get rolled. I'll add it back in. There'll be no more Kanos. I'm not going to get caught up in the cycle. I'm just going to always run AB and just, like, fuck it. Like,
yeah, and I'm the opposite. It's just like, all right, it's a big room. What are the odds? And then every goddamn time, and I still don't learn my lesson.
I've only done it one time, and I learned my lesson. That was when I played in the Calling at Nats, and I was on new. And I was like, I won't run into Kanos, and I ran into a Kano day 2.
Yep. You were playing the Mystic Head, and no one else was.
Oh yeah, Traverse, because I was on aggro new.
You're on aggro new. And then
I didn't even have Mask of Recurring Nightmares in my list.
Nope.
Wow.
And then he walks up with his tail between his legs on, like, the first match of day 2, and he's like, well, I got blown up by a Kano. Shit.
Oh no, that one wasn't the first one. I think that was my second. My first one that day was an Enigma. But it was like the Guardian Enigma, so the one that had like 20 D reacts plus all of the whatever. So that was my other bad matchup.
Where the win condition is just Manifestations of Miragai.
Literally,
that's it.
I mean that was it.
Yep.
That and fatigue. So,
well, these guys.
But I did hit a Kano very early in day 2 as well. But I still stand by that list. I did like that list. I think that people were underutilizing Traverse and New just as like an aggro tool, because the moment you could run lower chi. This was my train of thought, Josh. You could run lower chi because you only really needed to find one. And then once you pitched it and it went to the bottom, as long as you had a good enough offensive hand, then you just popped it immediately on your blocks. And you'd go into the next turn with like 6 cards and then just blow them up. Like it worked really, really well. I mean, it did well enough that I made, I was like X1 day 1.
You're X1 day 1.
And then I got bodied day 2 because of, matchup roulette. But
well, there is an actual question from this listener.
Should we just move on? We'll establish this person may or may not be Kano enjoyer the number one Kano enjoyer from
Michigan's
Michigan.
number one Kano enjoyer.
I think this is this discussion is going on long enough.
We've psyoped this person out.
Listen, our conversation was on the stack.
It's on. Yeah. Well.
Okay. Let's resolve it. Let's resolve it.
200 is an amazing milestone. Congrats, guys. My question is for Logan and Charmer. Do you think this game is past the point where it is reasonable in keeping a master set of play sets of cards, not necessarily collecting the fancy, expensive high-end, collecting marbles and such? I'm just going to take and do that one quickly. I'm not sure that it's a matter of expense. And honestly, with the reprints that we know that we're going to be entering an aggressive reprint philosophy on some things, if Super Slam is any indication, we had this discussion in the lost 11 minutes that died to the internet, where New Horizons is $11 now. You can get a Flick Knives for $20. Felling and Plow have held value a little bit better. And then the Warmongers being a legendary, and Warmongers had already tanked a little bit, really didn't impact that as much. But Snag is very affordable now too, and even has the correct wording on it. Looking at you, Josh, and fucking errata. And so yeah, it's I think that we're not necessarily at the point of expense. We're at the point of an upper limit. And it's not an upper limit of finance, it's an upper limit of stuff. Now, if you are just chasing down exactly play sets of everything and not acquiring the mountains of bulk needed to do it naturally, I think that that's reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable to open enough product to fill those out unless you have an outlet for the mountains of bulk. See the guy sitting here with a mountain of bulk and really know where to go with it of every goddamn set. I think that you can commit to doing that if you're patient. So going and doing what I used to do, which is be set complete by the end of release weekend. That is a dangerous road to hoe. And I don't think people should do that. I think that's too expensive for sure. I don't think it's an expense issue now, but the game is bigger. It's much bigger. Just in the, card pool alone. So owning sets of everything is more, I think, of a space and organization issue than a monetary issue if you are smart about acquiring the play sets.
I have 3 points on this. Even though it's not
Jesus, 3 points.
I have 3 points.
I only have one, so.
Do you want to go first then?
I mean, mine is, I don't think that it's necessarily something we can answer because not only do we not know your situation, we don't know everyone else's either. And even if we did know it, it's a snapshot in time and your circumstances might change and the circumstances around the game might change. So like right now, as of answering this question, do we think it's unreasonable? I don't know. That depends on you. Do you have the single most powerful card in trading card games? And that is the credit card. If the answer is yes, then sure, you can keep up. But otherwise, maybe not.
Yeah. Like I collect playsets, so I don't go for everything all shiny, all fancy. I've got a few collections that where I sort of almost set myself a goal and say, I want to collect X of this. Like I want to do this specific thing. Like my first collection was making a foiled out Ira welcome deck using the foil variants of everything that's in the original Ira welcome decks. That includes like the foil head jabs, the cold foil Edge of Autumn, the rainbow foil Ira, not the cold foil Ira, because the cold foil Ira isn't an extended art hero, while the original welcome deck is, so you have to get the rainbow foil version. But that being said, like I do collect playsets, and all the playsets are all non-foil, lowest, cheapest rarity. And that's been like every single set. I just like make sure that I try to complete that before the next set rolls through. And I still got a list of things that I need to collect, but I think that it is reasonable to be able to collect all of that. But it takes time and patience and organization. Like, do you want to guess how many cards we have now? How many unique cards there are in Fab? So red, yellow, and blue are unique cards, but like foil variations aren't unique.
What about reprints? Or reprints
reprints aren't unique either. So like
so
a plow under printed before is same as plow under printed now.
Super Slam is set 13?
No, it is set 16?
Is it 16? No.
17, I think.
Christ.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my binders. I'm trying to count them. Okay, so 17. I'm going to say 9,300.
Charma?
My guess would be like half that, like 4,500-ish.
Right, like almost on the ball there. So we've got 4,192 unique cards in the database.
Because once you said like no reprints and whatever, I was like, sure. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I was trying to multiply sets. So
I
was doing it by like 250. Like that's what I did in my head. I was like, if it's like 16 or 17 sets times 250, that's a little over 4.
Do you want to guess how many unique cards there are printed? So unique variants of every single card there are. So different languages, different foiling, different editions.
Oh, different languages.
Yeah.
Because outside,
we had what? German, French, Spanish, Japanese, Italian,
and
then past Black Label, History Pack. They started printing those in foil variations when they started doing multi-language sets.
And then there's also History Pack 2.
I'm gonna guess that because of, even though it's only like with the uniques, with the non-variations and reprints and whatever, it's only like a little over 4,000. I think once you go in multiple languages and you go with all of that, I'm going to say around 19,000.
I think it's got to be like 12K.
39,162 unique cards in the card database.
Okay.
And I entered them all into there.
Okay. Well, obviously you're not your average typist, but
I didn't type them all out. I couldn't do that. There's a lot of copy pasting, a lot of scripts, a lot of regex.
Yeah. Like that is a lot. So if you were to extrapolate that, you'd and have a play set of every unique version of everything, you'd be at 100,000 cards easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Like I think it's unreasonable. Okay. If we're talking about reasonability, I think it's completely unreasonable for anyone other than, I don't know, the person with like a Centurion unmaxed credit card to go ahead and collect a play set of every single variation of every Flesh and Blood card ever made. But
you sit down across the Saudi Crown Prince.
But I think it is reasonable to collect like a play set. Like, it's tough, don't get me wrong, and there are some like pricey items. Like, I found like, there are a couple of times where like there's a few cards where I'm like, okay, maybe I won't complete the playset of that yet. We'll see where the market goes, all that sort of a thing. But, I'm very close to completing an entire playset as, just time goes on. I just build it up. I just make my trades. I open boxes. I get like 4 or 5 cases every set and I open them all up and I trade what I don't need and give people chaff. And I use that goodwill to sort of secure some things that I do need. And it takes time, effort, energy, dedication, but you do get there in the end, I think.
No, I think you're right.
I wish I could still afford to do 1 case per set, let alone 4 or 5.
This is my only hobby right now. So
his market might be a little bit different in New Zealand than ours is as well.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But
But the other thing I was going to say as well is that Snag did not get an errata. Thank you very much.
I was waiting for this because I agree.
The reminder text on the original Snag is incorrect as of the Comprehensive Rules 2.0. Reminder text is not rules text. We did not update the reminder text because that is not related to rules text. We reprinted it with new reminder text, which reminded the player what the correct rules were. Snag did not receive an errata. Thank you very much.
distinction without a difference, Josh. And then for Josh Scott, will there ever be any app that is a complete one-stop shop for rulings, just to help answer questions at a local level without having to thumb through relevant cards from rules reprises? Thank you guys for being great. Well, you're welcome for that part. Josh, an app.
I would love an app. It takes time to develop an app. There's obviously certain other priorities, like we've like launched the new website and we've launched the new card database, the card vault. We're working on other integrations and other sort of like tech support, but I think that we will probably eventually get to an app at some point. In terms of like a one-stop shop for rules, though, that is absolutely 100% like on the roadmap for my team. The idea is essentially for the card database, for all what we were talking about, like almost 4,000 cards, we want to create rulings for all of those cards, well, the majority of those cards in the card vault. So the idea is that you're not sure how a certain card works. It's maybe not a straightforward interaction, but it's nothing super niche. You go to the card vault, you'd look up the card, the rulings are there for you. And it would be kind of stuff that you would find in your rules reprise, the kind of stuff that you would find in like the explanations and the release notes. It wouldn't cover anything like super drastic. Like it wouldn't be like a bait steal victory Yorick scenario. Like we're not talking that niche or that in depth, but it would be enough to be able to make the majority of rulings. So that is definitely on the roadmap, and that is something that we are planning to release, especially like moving into next year. But as with all things, all good things, this takes time, and especially with 4,000 cards, we need to make sure that everything is correct and everything is, future proof. Like it's long lived. We don't want to create any sort of rulings that don't last a set or last a release cycle.
All right. Next one is from our friend Polish guy Rich. In honor of 200 shows and the longevity of the game itself, name 200 fun fab cards. Combined, not each. Legendaries count as 2, and any card named with RYB counts as 3. Do 10 or so between segments, but don't skimp, or the big electron will get you. Now, here's the fucked thing here. Why do you people think that I plan well? Because I don't. This is no. I mean, we probably have named 200 fab cards in talking through this episode at this point, or come close. And I don't even know if card named with RYB counts as 3. Oh, red, yellow, blue. Now it makes sense. I just had to say it out loud. But yeah, I mean, everybody should just know that there is only one card in all of Flesh and Blood that everybody agrees is the epitome of a good time, and it's Go Bananas.
I can agree with that. I think Go Bananas is a good choice. 100%.
It's a beautiful card.
Let's get this straight. I am more than happy to name 200 fab cards right here, right now, but
are you gonna do it to the cadence of the Pokemon rap?
I am,
because I'll allow it if you are.
I am not that clever. Let's
okay. Because
I mean, like the cop out is to use the random card button on Card Vault to start going through cards. Go through 200 or so cards like that.
Listen, or you could do this. You could say, if you take 200 fun fab cards and you put them in a trench coat, then they are named Bill. See, I have named 200 fun fab cards.
That's very good.
No.
Clever.
All right, well then,
Bonds of Agony,
go.
I guess that's one thing. Like, what do you, I don't think this was a question in here, but again, I don't read. What do you think is the least fun fab card?
The least fun?
It's Arclight Sentinel. We all know
Arclight Sentinel.
Yeah, we all know that.
It's gotta, yeah.
Right?
It's gotta be Arclight Sentinel.
Yeah.
That doesn't count for this exercise because that is not a fun fab card.
I'm sorry, are we talking fun from a play perspective or rules perspective?
The least fun fab card.
It is a fun rules card.
No. It's
do tokens count as cards as well for this question?
Do tokens count as cards in the game?
Yeah.
Then they count as cards.
Oh, perfect.
Because eloquence and confidence and toughness and gold and silver and copper and Centauri sellswords and vigor and might and blood rot and blood root, which is a different form of blood rot that was printed in the Azalea deck.
Excuse me, blood root is not a token, but it is a misspelling on lace with blood.
That's
root.
true, on lace with blood root. And then blood rot pox and inertia and frailty and there's aura seismic
That's a
surges.
really good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that, Josh, you should see that.
What
Which
movie?
one?
Frailty.
Oh, Frailty's pretty good.
Frailty.
Yeah.
Frailty's good. The Witch, we're in that season where it's time to watch The Witch again.
Oh yeah, I do need to rewatch. I was just saying to Sophie the other day that we needed to rewatch that because it's been a bit.
Movie's gas.
I love Black Phillip, man.
Oh yeah, Black Phillip. Every time I go to the goat area at the orchard that's local that we can go into, there's a black goat there, and I'm like, Black Phillip.
It's stars Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey.
What? Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's a real good movie.
I would suggest not reading anymore.
Yeah. So I was just
looking
at the who's directing and
I was just gonna say I would avoid the spoilers, but it's a good film.
And if you haven't, do 1 hour photo as well.
Oh, is that the
Robin Williams?
Yeah, Robin Williams. I don't know why, my brain farted there, and I was literally trying not to say Patch Adams. I was like, oh, it's the one with Patch Adams.
Nope, definitely not that. 1 hour photo is a fucked up movie.
Bro, a psychological thriller with Patch Adams would be incredible.
Uh-huh.
That's literally 1 hour photo, though.
Yeah, it messes with you. Okay, moving on. Next one's from the.
Are we though? Because we haven't hit 200 yet.
We're at 17. I'm counting.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I named so many tokens.
Yeah, that's why we're at 17.
And a gold bananas.
Why don't you up sticks and run with this bit?
I need to find a new horizon to broaden. We'd already talked about flick knives, for God's sakes. This entire show is a Bonds of Agony.
I started with that. Now you're just hitting my specialty.
No, I thought your specialty was Starstruck.
No, now you're making me want to pummel you.
Oh. Why can't I think of the name of that card? What's Uzuri's
It's Patch Adams.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Shakedown?
Yeah, Shakedown. You can't shake me down. There's, because do heroes count? Because we've talked about several of those.
Yeah,
they are cards, but they only count as one. You should be going for the RYBs, man.
Yeah,
Bounty Demagon.
I'm counting RYBs as 3 and legendaries as 2.
L's is 2.
Yeah.
So I can just go through the entire Kasai kit. So it's Balance of Justice, Crown of Providence, Crown of Dominion. We wear so many helmets. It's so many fucking helmets. Null Rune Hood. And then which only counts as one,
firm.
sadly. Yeah, holding firm, baby. It's a give and take.
Is that a cycle? I can't remember. It's
give and take.
No,
a cycle.
It's just red.
Just one.
No,
Yeah.
down but not out is a cycle.
True.
So is Punch Above Your Weight. That is a cycle.
Yep.
It's not a cycle. 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
10 foot tall and bulletproof is not a cycle.
No.
And nobody enjoys Sink Below though. Outland Skirmish is one of my favorites. You can cash in, you can cash out. Blade Runner is an amazing movie if you haven't seen that one.
I have. I saw that. I hadn't seen that for the longest time.
That also counts as 3.
Yes, I've noticed that. I hadn't seen that for the longest time, and I watched it the other day, and I was surprised how well that stood up.
Yeah, there's not a in the terms of movies, I think that you only have nope, yep, I still am. What are you doing? No, do not do that. I don't know how to fix this. Yep, I'm still here. There it is. We have gone long enough that the automation in the program asked if we were still there, which is new. That's
Make sure it doesn't kick us out this time.
And no shit. I think that when people are like, how many perfect movies are there, right? Ones that you stare at and you cannot think of a single thing that can be done better to make the movie more entertaining, full stop. I can come up with very few examples. Alien is one of them. It is still terrifying to this day. It holds up so well. Jaws still holds up. I mean, even today, The Princess Bride, if anybody were to touch that fucking movie, I would string them up. Like,
right, I want to watch that again too. Princess Bride.
And then the one that always catches people off guard, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh my God, that's such a good movie.
Absolutely perfect movie. There is nothing that can be done better in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The movie's just so good. And so yeah, you get those sort of like, everybody in those movies deserves a performance bonus. That's 3. And I don't know, like it's really hard to find movies that are perfect. Just like it's hard to find songs that are perfect, right? Like,
well, I mean, like it's weird because, like, of course, you would say, like, a lot of people would say their perfect movie is like their old favorite movie, essentially. But what you want to do is you want to look at your movies critically and say, like, regardless of the time that this was launched, does this hold up today? Like, is this still, like, not necessarily relevant to the socio-political economic climate or whatever, but is this still a good movie? Does the cinematography hold up? Does the acting hold up? Does it have, like, a good plot line? Like, there are very, very few movies that really sort of make it for me, even when I look back at the nostalgia bait.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of the Hitchcock ones that come close. I think Psycho probably does still. And I feel like Rear Window still does for sure.
Actually, you know what my favorite old movie is 12 Angry Men.
Right, the original, like, Spencer Tracy, was it? Or who was that?
12.
Who was in that one?
It was the 1957 one.
Yep.
Who
was the lead?
Was it starring? Henry Fonda.
It's Henry Fonda. Okay.
Yeah. But like that movie, that's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, I think. Like,
it is so well done.
It is very good.
And I really, it still carries a bunch of power to it. The way that it delivers, it isn't cyclical. Like, that is still the way that things are decided in society today. Well, sorry, yeah. Should be. Well, which is still charmer. Yep. I gotta probably do a shot for that one, but
cheers. Sorry, that's only one. It's not a cycle.
Fuck, booze. Right. Booze is also not a cycle. fucking should be though. And no, you're right. I mean, like, it's the principle that justice was built on.
It's the idea. The idea is still holds. Kind of.
In an honest society, which is the difference.
Yeah.
Where is my scotch?
In memory in the US, maybe.
Oh, in memoriam, yeah.
In memoriam.
Which we got that question coming up soon anyway. We'll keep going, but the Delusian data analyst says during the last episode, there was talk of historical characters as fab promos. My mind immediately went to Nuclear Gandhi from the Civ games, because why wouldn't it? So 2 questions. What would Nuclear Gandhi's hero power be? All right. And what other video game characters or historical figures could lead to wild game mechanics? So Nuclear Gandhi's hero power. It would have to, I think it would have to interact with like war and peace mechanic type things, similar to Warmonger's diplomacy. And then, but if peace like escalated too quickly, then he like has a demi-hero version that can no longer block with cards. Cards base power is doubled or some shit. Like,
I actually wonder if it was like be a mechanic where it's like if there's any turn where you don't attack him, up some counter.
mm-hmm.
And then when it reaches a certain threshold, then he just goes crazy.
Yeah, and then you have to survive like 15 turns without attacking.
No.
Then
so like the idea would be as the Gandhi player, you want to not be attacked. Like you want a turn where you want turns where your opponent is not attacking you. Where the incentive is your opponent, you need to attack them every single turn. Otherwise they get more powerful. Like otherwise this threshold, goes up, and then eventually it reaches a point where like he gains some power or something. That would be cool. Be like at the end of each opposing hero's turn, if you have not been attacked by the hero this turn, put a peace counter on your hero. And then like if you have 5 or more peace counters, depending on young or CC or something like that, transform into
Nuclear Gandhi.
Into Nuclear Gandhi. Gandhi the Benevolent.
Yeah. And so something like that.
So I like that idea, but I think that it's hard because you don't have agency unless you had designed cards that just prevent them from attacking. So I think that instead, in my mind, it should just be that the counter goes up when you don't take damage. So you're encouraged to block out, but then if they can go wide or whatever and poke you, all they have to do is deal 1 damage and you don't get your counter, right?
I think you could probably lace it up with some sort of disruption though. Like, discard mechanics or...
Sure, but then they would have to be discard mechanics without attacking or something. Because in my mind, I like the idea of the guy just sits there until you've pushed him too far and then he goes off, right? So my design philosophy would be for every turn that you do not take damage, right? Then you add a uranium 235 counter to Gandhi. And then his hero power says, action, remove X number of uranium 235 counters, and your attacks for the turn get plus, 1 for each counter removed. So if you can stall for 3 turns, then you give all your attacks plus 3, right?
So you just get these monster Art of Wars, basically.
That's Monster Art Wars, but you have to not do anything for a long time to make use of it, and then even when you do finally get to go off, you're still going to probably have to take a bunch of damage because now you have a fistful of cards you want to make use of, right? So I think it would be that kind of cool, really ebb and flow play, but just on a grander scale. So that's what I'm going to go.
You have to pitch deck set up what would effectively be a triple mount channel mount heroic turn.
I would, and then I would put a cap on it, plus 3 would be the most or whatever, just so that it is kind of like a channel mount heroic or whatever, so that
Nah,
it's not
fuck
just
'em.
like I block forever and then I die. But
Plus
If
12.
you had like a talent for him, he'd be ice talent, right? Because he brings the nuclear winter.
ooh, I
Well,
love it.
That one would, yeah.
He'd be the first draconic ice.
No,
I
he would
love it.
be mystic. He would be mystic ice.
In terms of other characters, though, historical figures, there's probably a few that come to mind. Genghis Khan would be cool. Where like
Genghis Khan's talent would be populate the world with your seed. Everybody's now related.
I was thinking, Genghis Khan, whenever he kills an ally, he instead gains control of it.
Subjugating. Put
And
a
then
subjugation counter on that ally.
The horde grows.
Grows. Oh my god, that's pretty good. It'd have to be something like you'd almost have to have the clash mechanic in there too somehow. Like if you lose a clash, you remove a subjugation counter from each ally you control. Because it's when the Khans lost battles that everybody went home. Which Genghis never lost a battle. But he was killed in his sleep. So first time he took damage. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are also a bunch of other video game characters that people have talked about as well. Like, I know the one that's often talked about is like an ice ninja, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Sub-Zero!"
Yeah. I think that's a slam dunk. I don't know why. I think it would be really cool if you were going to do video game characters. The one that I think would fit incredibly well, like just in Flesh and Blood's style and theme, would be Kratos. Kratos is like as a warrior, and his gimmick is that he can swap weapons in and out of his inventory. So you're like, I got the Leviathan axe, I got the chains, right? Like he's just doing the thing, but he's swapping them in and out. Kind of like what Ira does right now with the Edge of Autumn builds, where it's like, okay, I banish it to get an effect. I think it'd be cool if instead you had a character, whether it's, Kratos or some other character, but I think it'd be kind of cool if you had a warrior who their whole thing is they're just like the toolbox for weapons, and they're designed with like their specialization weapons for that character, but they basically say like, when you attack with this, swap it with something you're in your inventory, so that you're always having to go between, the 2 or 3 in a cycle or something. Or maybe it's, they're token weapons, but you flip them and then they become a different weapon each time or something. But I think that'd be kind of neat, personally.
Mael from Expedition 33 would have the stance changing. So you deal extra damage, but you take extra damage in Virtuoso. You go to defense, defense where now your cards defend at +2, but your attacks attack at -2 when you're in that stance, and then there's base stance or stanceless where you don't have any pluses or minuses to anything. So if you get caught in the wrong stance, you end up getting blasted for a bunch of damage because your shit doesn't block anymore. If you can throw enough damage back, it's worth doing. That's something that you could do. There's gotta be something you can do with like a Dark Urge character from Baldur's Gate 3 type of situation.
Ooh, yeah.
Like give me a dirge hero. Like,
for historical figures, you could do a really cool assassin as like Gavrilo Princip for UPF, and every time that he deals damage to somebody, then everyone has to fight each other.
That's really funny. That one's really good.
I like that.
The problem is that most of these like exist in other IPs, and so they're just not near as much fun.
Tell you what, I've been deep in mechanologist gameplay lately. I think Samus would be a fantastic mechanologist hero.
Yeah, Samus Aran.
That would be like start out as it would fit into like the Evo thing so well. You start out as like Zero Suit Samus, and then you start like equipping your armor and like upgrading your blaster, and like that would be sick.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty good.
So my mind went to Aloy from Horizon.
Oh, sure.
That'd be a slam dunk mechanologist ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I could see that. That would be sick, actually.
I think it'd be fun.
Revolver Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid. where you just have this gun guy that does gun guy things. Kind of like an armorer, almost, or a gunsmith type character. There's a lot of fun ones.
A really, really obvious one would be something like Blackbeard and like
right,
as a pirate. Like that would just be
for historical.
Blackbeard, John Silver.
I mean, that's almost Captain too Bane. On the nose, though, right? Like that's so.
A Calico Jack would be an interesting one, though.
Yeah,
because a Calico Jack would not be a traditional pirate necessarily. That's more a diplomatic pirate to a degree. Less hands-on. What else could we have in there? God, American history is too boring to really get a good one. I almost want like your American one to be like a Rocky Marciano type. It's just a fist fighter. It's just or a Jack Dempsey, just a bare knuckle boxer.
Actually, Andre the Giant is as a brute hero.
As a brute, he is. Are you on the brute squad? He's like, I'm going to call the brute squad. I'm on the brute squad. You are the brute squad. So it all fits. And then we're just tying back to Princess Bride. We're doing
great. I mean, you mentioned Princess Bride earlier, and I was like, actually,
yeah, I knew it would work. Moving on. Next one's from Ocelot13. Congratulations on 200. How do we continue to support diversity and inclusion in the game and our communities in light of the current state of Western politics? Fuck. Well, the only way that we can do anything, you listen. You listen to the people around you, and do everything you can to make anywhere you walk into better than when you entered. Leave everything better than when you started, and that's really all you can do in most cases. It's a shit time. It's very difficult right now in the world, and the best way to be a light and support diversity and inclusion, it's always going to be to call out those who aren't champions of diversity, are not champions of inclusion. Call out behaviors that do not represent what this game and what this community represent, and at the same time be open to listen to those people's views, in especially when they're honest about the desire to change and to learn and to grow. You shouldn't just automatically shun somebody that has a viewpoint that is, frankly abhorrent. It's there's going to be some amount of nuance, but if somebody is honest in that they are willing to be to have a discussion, be willing to have an honest discussion. Don't just drink from the fire hose all the time when it comes to these types of things. We actually do need to learn how to talk again as a society. We have lost that, and having honest discussions is how people grow. And if you're not willing to have an honest discussion, if you're not willing to talk about things that are difficult and to confront people who have viewpoints that are hurtful, then we might as well give up. And I don't think that that's a thing that any of us are willing to do right now. Is we're not giving up. Anybody else? I mean, that's a fun one to talk about.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like it's a matter of, addressing the problems when they come up and just leaving things better than when you found it. Like the only way that we can move forward is to improve, to admit when we're wrong, or, call others out when they're wrong, and, have that discussion, have that dialogue, and continue to improve together.
I'm waiting for Derek's pithy whatever he's going to say.
No, I'm trying hard to not say the funny thing because I don't know how it will be received.
You have that's never fucking stopped you before.
I know, but I just said earlier that I needed to work on that.
He's shy because he's a guest here.
I'm trying. Look, I'm not the right person to ask, because I, talk about things you're not proud of. Like, I still call pill guy to his face. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was asked not to, I still do it. I don't know if I'll ever stop. It's just, it is what it is. So, look, I guess I would say this. Always start and lead with kindness, right? The whole point, like, the human existence is kind of just miserable by default. At least in my experience. Maybe it's just a crippling depression, I don't know. But it's kind of miserable by default. And you should not want to make things worse for people. The world will do that enough. So the more that you can try to provide some levity, I mean, that's the reason that I am Captain Jokey Jokester all the time, especially on this show. It's because, one, I spend all day like actually being professional, and so this is kind of like my way to let off steam. But also, I live by the words that, like, life is too serious to take life seriously, and like there are definitely moments in time when you need to take things seriously. But if it's not one of those moments in time, then you should be a silly little goose, in my opinion. Like, bring back whimsy, bring back a childlike sense of wonder, and just do the thing and make other people happy along the way as well. Because, again, the world will crush them enough already. So lead with kindness, lead with levity, and then when it is time to be serious, then be serious. Have frank discussions, be intolerant of intolerance, fist fight people in a parking lot outside of a ProQuest. You do what you got to do.
Hang on a second.
You know that story.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to more levity, because it's Greg. Greg has a peppering of questions. Who at LSS is the best answer? Go.
Can I guess?
Go on, guess.
I'm just curious. I think popular, like if you were doing odds at Vegas, popular choice would be Alex, but I think it's actually James.
I think it's Kieran.
So, full disclosure, I don't know. I haven't seen everybody at LSS dance. I'm not going to answer this because I feel like if anyone from LSS listens to this podcast, they will get upset. If I name somebody who's... A couple of them do. I do. I listen.
Well, yeah.
All right, listen. If you are an employee at LSS, not named Josh Scott, and you are listening right now, then this is your time to challenge him to a dance-off and settle it once and for all.
And put it on a 24-hour fourth birthday live stream.
It'd be our 6th birthday. 6th birthday coming
fourth.
Up. Oh, your fourth. Ah, right.
I'm trying to pimp my shit.
Oh, sorry. I'm busy promoting LSS dance-offs. So.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Who at LSS has the best fashion sense? That's a fun one.
Oh man, that's tough.
It's subjective.
Who actually had? Okay, Zephyr has the best fashion sense. I believe it's double denim Tuesdays that I'm usually up there.
Canadian tuxedo.
I think last time I saw him, I think it was a jean shirt, jean jacket, and jeans, and we went out to lunch. It was outstanding. Zephyr is my inspiration.
That's fair. That's totally fair. If you could delete one hero from Fab completely, which would it be and why?
Yorick.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, Yorick, Taylor, or Shiana. Those three cause me headaches more than you'll ever know. But I fear that even if they were removed from the game, then I would still have to deal with their bullshits in some way. Because we have like Infiltrate, we have Nu, we have the new Necromancer hero as well. the shape not shapeshifter one, the one for the cosplay. So there's always going to be heroes and things that do the things that they do, and I'll always have to consider them. But like those are my immediate thoughts.
Who is your desert island musical artist? I know Charmers is Sean James. I know.
Yeah, I mean that's the easy one. If it wasn't him, I'd probably say Donald Glover, just because you get so many different genres with that single pick.
Mine's The Clash, so that's easy.
I mean, I don't know, for a desert island, because you're going to be there for presumably you're going to be there for a while. I think I would actually prefer something classical, like Chopin, Beethoven.
Yeah, I could see you being a Chopin guy.
Mozart. Like I love fucking.
Where are you at on Tchaikovsky?
Oh, out fucking standing.
Okay.
I love that period of classical music. Like, I don't know what it is.
I'm a Baroque guy.
I hear what you're saying, but let me just throw this out here. What if instead it was just John Williams? I know you're laughing, but come on.
I mean, that's pretty fair. I mean, are we talking John Williams, any music that he's composed?
Any music, right? That's your artist. Yeah. That's your artist. So you get Jurassic Park, Jaws, Harry Potter, Schindler's List. You get the whole plethora. Indiana Jones, like whatever you're feeling for the day, you have a soundtrack for your own desert island movie.
Honestly, that's
pretty good.
That's a pretty good pick. Yeah. I dig it.
Huh.
His musicography would be fucking enormous, right? Like,
it's huge. It's mammoth.
Massive.
Yeah.
And it's all bangers too. He doesn't know how to mail it in.
I think he may have one or two that are on the downward slope of John Williams music.
I would argue that it was the people who performed it didn't understand his vision.
Possible. Favorite book you've read in the last year?
It would be friggin' what's the first of that series called? Hold on. The Final Empire. It's the first of the Mistborn series from Brandon Sanderson.
Gotcha.
So quick thing. I didn't used to read at all. So like as a teenager, I read a couple of young adult books and whatnot, and then I just became disillusioned with reading because through high school we had to do homework on it, and homework is the thing I hated most in the world while I was a teenager. So that just put me off reading for 2 decades essentially. I just didn't want to touch a book. Anything that I read cover to cover was either a journal article for my PhD, or it was a technical book for computer science or programming or something like that. Everything else, any other book or anything, I wouldn't touch. And then I was recently, in the last year, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do less tech stuff because I'm at my desk 8 to 10 hours every day doing work, and I kind of just want to disengage. And so I started asking my friends for recommendations, and Brandon Sanderson came up, and I was like, sounds all right. I'll give him a go. And I don't know how I haven't been reading over the last 2 decades because books are great. Books are amazing.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get to Patrick Rothfuss. That'll be fun.
Because I finished the Mistborn trilogy now, and I'm on to his what's the other series that he's done? He's published 5 books of it for. Hold on. Of the Cosmere. Fucking where is
I don't think I know that one.
I'm reading Heroes of Ages at the moment, and that's part of his other epic.
Mistborn is really the only one I know.
God, what is it?
It's funny. I also just started reading The Final Empire.
Oh, really?
I had literally just never I'd heard so much about the Mistborn stuff, but I just never got around to reading it. And
he finished
the last
Wheels of
time,
Time.
yeah, he did.
Sorry, it wasn't the Hero of Ages. It was the Way of Kings, and that's part of like the other series. Fucking, what is it called? But yeah, you've just started the Mistborn series, have you?
Yeah, because I've read pretty much like every other major, I don't know what you would call it, like, you know, high
Stormlight
fantasy. Oh yeah, Stormlight Archive. Yeah, that's what it is. But I've read just about every other one, but like I just never started Mistborn. And then the last time that we were at the bookstore, my wife was like, "You should find a book." So I was looking around, and I was like, "You know what? I'll just do it. I'll just take the dive." So, but I had just finished. I've been reading through the Star Wars High Republic book series stuff. And I just finished that, so I was looking for like a new series to start anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. My favorite, this isn't a book, but my favorite DC comic book series ever is this Elseworlds thing called Kingdom Come. Basically, it's an incredibly written piece, and it's all illustrated by Alex Ross, so it's all painted. Yeah. I think it's Mark Waid's best work, and so like my LGS got a set of them of the first printings, and like they have this thing, they do a back issue Thursday thing, and so I put a claim in them, but I didn't win the claim, and I was like, shit, somebody else got them. Okay, fine. So I hop on eBay and just look for them because now I want them, and I just want a reader copy. So they were made in 96 is when Kingdom Come would have come out. And so I find somebody that has them listed for like $50 for the 4 books, you know, they're 48 pages a shot, so they're not small, and find somebody that like has it for like listed for like $50 or whatever for the set. And so I offered 40, they accepted the 40 offer. I'm like, great, I'm gonna get some reader copies, this will be good. They came in, I took the first one out, and I went to open it, and it has literally never been opened since 1996. So because they're 48 pages, so they have that little crease that exists so like you can fold the cover, right? It's brittle. It's never been opened. And I'm like, fuck, I can't read this. Like, that would be a terrible idea. So then I went back online, and they made in 1998, they made a hardbound, like gold leafed version of as a collected edition. So it's, you know, 200 pages or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you know, most auctions are usually $60-$70 or whatever is what things are finishing at. There's one that ends in a day and doesn't look like it has any bids on it, so I put in a $25 bid. I got it for $18, so that's my reader copy now.
Nice.
Versus these others that I have to wait till Alex Ross does another signing, and then I'm just getting them signed and they're never moving. But yeah, so that one has been the one I've been like rereading through recently. For books, I had started yesterday actually hopping back into the Silo series. I don't know if you've ever read that one. It is quite good. I really, really enjoy that one.
Interesting. But Hugh Howey.
Yeah, it should be I believe it's even a series on Amazon now or something, or like one of the platforms, Apple TV maybe, did a Silo series. Which is I've not watched the series. Yeah, I haven't watched that. So I'm just rereading the books before I do that.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Which I also reread Shogun because people kept telling me that the series was really good. So I went and reread Shogun for like the 100th time, and then determined that after rereading it that nope, now it's too recent, so now I can't watch the series. So I've got to wait like another year for it to not be as fresh.
Shogun is on my watch list as well. It's just low down.
Last question from Greg. Hot sauce thoughts?
Is that a question? That sounds like a statement. Like hot sauce and then calling us thoughts.
Okay. No. But yes.
I mean, tell me that doesn't sound exactly like something that Greg wouldn't say.
He would definitely call me a thought.
We're at the Airbnb. I can picture it now. It's like Friday night before a big tournament. He pulls up, right? We're already there, and he opens the door and he goes, "Hot sauce, thoughts?"
And then tosses hot sauce at us.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to let that stand on business because I don't think we need to answer that question now. Next one is
let's keep going.
Next one's from Vince. It is, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? That depends if it's an African swallow or a European swallow. Everybody knows that. It's not only answering the question until we're better defined.
Yeah.
Okay,
I believe,
but what about
for reference, I believe that the unladen European swallow is 11 meters per second.
You would know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to know, because we have both Americans and Kiwis on the call, which is the better swallow?
Well, the African swallow is non-migratory. So...
No. I meant, like, are Kiwis better at swallowing, or...
Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on, man.
I can't believe I got you with that one, Logan.
To clarify, Charmer, because your phrasing is ambiguous. Do you mean who is the better to be swallowed, or who is the better swallower?
Oh,
yes.
Now we have achieved intrigue. Okay, I think that the Kiwi diet would make them the better to be swallowed in general.
I think I would agree with that in general.
I'm sorry. I think that if you want to get the right amount of marbling, you need some weight on them. And we all know that Americans have that amount of weight. So, like, if I'm going to go with long pig, I'm going American.
No. I totally disagree here, because the way that you get marbling is having free range and a good diet. That's
okay.
That's how Kobe beef works, right?
But we have freedom and gun ranges.
Oh my Christ. That hurts, but okay.
I think this is a topic that we could probably do a bit more research into before we read this.
We should look into this.
Yeah, we should look into it. We should get someone on this.
There are so many things I could say. Next one is from New York Knight. What card from Super Slam was the most difficult to get to function with the rules as they were printed, and what was the wonkiest rules interaction it made?
I think we've sort of already gone over these, but like Truth or Trickery, Take the Bait, and the Old Switcheroo, I think were the three major standouts. Nothing required like any major rules changes. Like there's nothing significant changing about the rules for the comprehensive rules, at least. But those were definitely the trickiest interactions because, like, as I said before, Bait, like, we sort of got the outline of what it needed to do, and we sort of had to make some cuts somewhere to make it function on like the primary level. Truth or Trickery was interesting just because, like, we had so much text on it. When I got that, it was like it had twice as much text on it, and we were just like, okay, how do we cut down the amount of text on this to make sure that like it does what we want it to do from a fundamental level, and still makes sense like logistically and to the players reading it and that sort of a thing. Like that was a tough logistical challenge to get working syntactically, and also just to cut out all the bullshit wording. And then the Old Switcheroo was like just niche edge cases. It was like, you know, if we're going to go with this particular wording, like how does this operate as an outcome replacement effect? You know, what is the thing that we're replacing here? What is the order of operations? How does it interact with other outcome replacement effects like overturn the results and Victor? What about reclashing and like double clashing with like trounce and whatnot? So there were some really like complex interactions there. Surprisingly, like Tough Nut and Lyeth were like simple. It's like, oh, this has 3 intellect, this has 5 intellect and some funky stuff. And that was it. Like everything else was pretty much already covered by the rules regarding like how you halve base power or how you pitch cards from the top of your deck from other sets. So I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't have to do that much work with the heroes. They were already fundamentally ingrained in the rules. But it is like just a couple of these random cards that came out that we needed to have eyes on. I think as well, like the set overall wasn't too complicated from an interaction perspective. It's like Heavy Hitters 2 almost in terms
Pretty
of
much
the interactivity. It's very face up values. There's no super tricky edge cases with a few. There's a few cards like as I said, bait, old switcheroo, truth or trickery, overturn the results, and a good clean fight if you want to count that as well. But yeah, so I don't know. Ask me this question again when we go into the next set.
That makes sense. Next one's from our friend the Papa from the Jackal. For Josh, what's the biggest lesson to learn that you think helps folks get over the hump, so to speak, learning the game rules?
I think the most important thing is to understand what the rules are trying to do. Like, I mean, I can only really speak from personal experience because everybody has different ways about how they learn the rules and how they like engage with the rules. Like, you know, I work with a lot of judges in the community and they all approach it in different ways depending on whether or not they come from certain card games or certain backgrounds. The way that I've always approached the rules is I have a background in programming, so I've always approached the rules in the way that the rules are there as sort of like the game engine per se.
Mm-hmm.
And in a game engine, you have a bunch of states, like here is the game state. These are the effects that are in play. These are the objects. The objects are associated with locations. The object have properties. They have a certain state with a face up, face down, you know, frozen, tapped or anything like that. And the rules essentially govern how you transition from state to state. And once you sort of like get it in your head, like that everything is represented with that sort of mindset, like that's how I've written the comprehensive rules, as it's written with the mindset that if you wanted to convert this into a program, you probably could just follow the comprehensive rules. Once you've got that in your mindset, then you can start to think of it like, oh, any sort of operation has some sort of thought behind it or any sort of mindset behind it. And you just conceptualize that it's working on a state of the game. And then you ingrain, okay, that operation does this to here. And it has these sorts of like bits and pieces to remember. And once you remember that, then you can either apply it to similar operations like banishing, discarding, destroying, or you can internalize more complicated scenarios by applying these rules one at a time in the order of precedence that they appear within the CR. Like that's how I have always approached rules in games, and that's how I've approached the rules in Flesh and Blood. But I think that if you want to become a judge and you want to become super familiar with rules, I think the most important thing is just engagement. Like you've just got to like engage yourself with complicated scenarios, engage yourself with discussion with judges, engage yourself with the resources that we have, the rules reprise, the back of the oracles, dip your toes into the comprehensive rules and see if you can find rulings for yourself. Because once you start to engage and you start to practice and you start to like see these things, then it'll start to make more and more sense to you as you go through.
That is one of the things I noticed reading through the comprehensive rules is it sort of does read like an automation script at times. And I was like, oh, interesting. As I have to deal with those for testing purposes in my day job all the time.
Yeah. I will say though as well, like if it's not that you want to get like super good at the rules, like you don't want to be a level 2 judge, kind of level 3 judge, then I think the most important thing is just to engage with it how you like at the level that you want to be engaged. Like if you want to be a professional player, talk with professional players, talk with like in the community, find out the interactions and the rules you need to know. If you're just a casual player, like engage with it how you would as a casual player. Like look at the thematics of the game, look at like what cards are trying to do thematically and learn the game that way. There are plenty of players at my locals that don't understand a lot of the technicalities, but they get their rulings correct because they're like, oh, this card feels like it should do this because of how it's worded, the art on the card, what sort of deck it fits into. Quite often they're right because the rules are so ingrained in what the lore and what the art and what the game design is trying to achieve that you often find that the vast majority of things are very intuitive when you think of it as like, oh, well, whenever I swing with a weapon, the weapon comes back because that's my weapon and it doesn't just get destroyed. Whereas like my attack action cards, they're sort of like techniques or like one-off special moves, and like that's sort of like the thematics of it. And so like, if you approach it from that lore and that thematic and that gameplay perspective, you'll often get most of your rulings correct.
All right. Then we get for Logan and Charmer. What's been each your favorite moment from the show's history over the show's history? Mine's an easy one when we're just sitting here having a normal conversation in a normal episode with nothing else. And I said, Charmer, where can I find you? He's like, you can find me here next week, serving cunt. And I almost fell out of my fucking chair laughing.
See, those are the things that, again, like, it's so absurd that it's funny.
And I remember the next morning, I get a random text from Jordan. And he's like, did fucking Charmer just say serving cunt on your show? And I'm like, yes. He's like, I almost crashed my car.
I'm sorry, what episode was this?
This would have been in the 60s or 70s.
60s? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
this would have been like 130 weeks ago. But
it was a while ago, but I will say this. All credit goes to Carolina, because at the time, earlier that day, she had posted something on social media and somebody said something and she said like, yeah, I'm serving cunt or whatever. And I read that and I chuckled because I was like, yeah, that's very her. And then as the day went on, I was like, man, like, it's so absurd to imagine somebody like me saying that. And so I had just been simmering on it and waiting all day to record with that. So shout out to her, because that she was the inspiration. But yeah,
and
that's what I mean when I say the absurd.
Hospital. Like, it almost just ended me right then and there. That one was epically good. Darick, do you have one that sticks out?
I don't know. We've had so many big moments, but my favorite's probably the one that's this big.
It's got so funny. God damn it, it's still funny. All right, fine. Next is Jim Neben. This is going to be fun. So Ben asked like 104 questions. The first one for the Josh. This is for the Josh part 1. How closely do internal casual games follow heroes' LLs? Like, do your office mates care that a favorite hero is gone and update to LL, or do they ignore the meta? I guess that's a weird question.
That is a loaded question. We had an internal league going for, I think it was Blitz. And it went over a period of like, I think it went over like 2 months, 3 months. I'm not up on the office, so I wasn't able to compete, but I was down here in Christchurch, and I get this message and they're like, hey, this card has just been banned in Blitz and we're just about to enter the top 8 of this league. Do I have to change my deck list, or like what happens? And like, it was this big hubbub about whether or not I'm trying to remember what card it was now. It was Aurora in Blitz.
Aurora?
Yeah. God, what card was it?
Wouldn't have been Stubbies. It wouldn't have been, because I was already gone. I was gone with Phi.
Let me look up the card legality. Channel Lightning Valley.
Yeah, it's CLV.
Yeah. So they're like messaging like me, messaging Brian, messaging Chris, like, hey, do I have to change my list, or can I still keep Channel Lightning Valley?
Oh my god.
And we basically, I ruled it. I was like, look, the deck just has to be legal at the time that the
submission
the tournament starts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, it gets all messy because you have to change the lists and all that sort of stuff. And like, we don't have rules for that sort of a thing. So he was allowed to play. I think he lost in the end. I'm pretty sure Zephyr actually took down the league on Data Doll, our internal league.
Oh, Jesus.
That was sick.
Don't fuck with the dev.
But in terms of casual games, it does stick pretty close to like what the formats are. Like, you know, we adhere pretty closely to like ban lists or living legends, and depending on what the internal league format is, just for like fairness, and you want to sort of like you want to play close to what the players are playing. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out some of these other ones. Like, is there any special parties or rules cleanup that you wouldn't think about when a hero LLs?
Rules cleanup when a hero LLs.
Like, would you just say, "Oh, the hero's gone. I don't need to worry about that anymore"?
Usually, no. If there's a hero that's like been problematic, we try to like address those rules ASAP. A hero leaving doesn't change anything, so we usually don't have to update the rules. Removing cards from the game is very simple to do rules wise because the rules that apply to them no longer apply to them.
Right.
It's when things get introduced into the game or like there's an interaction that we want to change is like when we really have to put our heads together.
Another one. This one I think I know the answer to, but I don't know that we've talked about it on the show. How does card/bling acquisition work for an LSS employee who can't play in most events?
We kind of just do our own thing. I know a lot of people have their own collections or their own personal heroes that they like to bling out. Like I said, earlier about my collection, I've got a play set because I like to play at my local armory and I like to just play random decks, and having all those cards just means that I can play any hero anytime, which is what I like to do and how I like to engage with Flesh and Blood. But I've also got other like random collections going, like the Ira Welcome deck that I've completed. I'm collecting all the art cards from the gem packs and stuff, and that's cool. I'm collecting Marvel heroes as well. I just managed to collect the Marvel Jarl, which was a tough one, but there's still a few white whales out there for me. And other people have in the company have very similar sort of outlooks on how they collect. Everyone's different. Everyone just engages with the game how they want to engage. It's not a matter of everybody needs everything. It's just do what you want and just enjoy the game how you want to enjoy it.
But like, what about things like event promos? So like Ravenous Ravel like promos or
we do
gold foils.
We do get
play in tournaments.
We do get access to some tournament stuff, but not all. Like obviously, nobody in the company is getting gold foil tunics or anything like that.
No, they get shredded.
We just shred it.
Yeah, just shred them.
That's what we do for fun in the office. Is we just shred gold foil tunics all day.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, like there are some promos that we get from tournaments and whatnot that like participation stuff. So really low level.
Yeah. Like the Slippy hero card from Prague. I believe that you would have got that one.
Is that the cold foil one?
Yep.
Yeah. I think we got that one.
Yep. And then for the not Joshes in TC, oh Jesus Christ, these are hard. What happened to the Tigers? I can do that when they shit the bed. So if you are a Detroit Tigers fan, I apologize. You blew a 15.5 game fucking lead. Like with a month to play. That's an epic meltdown. So
I'm going to take a stab and
say meth level
American football?
Baseball.
Yep. 15 half game of lead in football is the season. Football, football is only 17 games total for American football. The American baseball season is 162 games.
Holy what?
Usually blows people's mind.
Yeah.
It's 162 games. So
you're playing a game every day for half a year.
Virtually, yeah.
Pretty much.
Usually it's 5 days a week for baseball players.
Wow. That is insane.
Yeah. Baseball season is long and it's wild, like how injuries ebb and flow in the game and stuff like that. But the Tigers had a monstrous lead in their division going into like the last 25 games of the season of like 15.5 games, and they blew it. So not only did they lose enough to get caught, the other team had to win enough to catch them. But I believe 7 of those games were direct. So each one, is an extra game up every time that you hit. And then what Darick was referencing is the New York Mets. Oof. They spent a bunch of money on players to make sure they make the playoffs, and then they didn't. And they had an epic meltdown of their own at the beginning of August.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They had the best record in baseball, and they missed the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the, if I remember right, the second most like expensive team in the league, meaning like in terms of what they pay their players. Because as Logan said, they spent a bunch of money to ensure they make the playoffs. So second most expensive team, had the best record in baseball, and in 2 months went from best record to not even in the dance.
Yeah, just shitting themselves. Yeah.
Something happened, or was it just...
Nope. Just started like everything went wrong. They just
Meth happened.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's enough from our friend Ben. He asked a bunch of questions, and I was like, we're at 3 hours. I'm gonna eschew a couple of these. Next one's from Justin. What are your favorite toppings for a hamburger? Now I'm gonna let Charmer cheat because he doesn't eat cow.
I mean, not anymore. I used to.
Well, sure. But it's been a while. Yeah. Okay, Josh, I'm gonna let you start.
Honestly, I like my burgers pretty basic. I like the meat to do the talking, you know?
Yep, I'm with you.
I think cheese, pickles, maybe a little bit of sauce, and that's it.
Yeah, so I have two varieties, two categories of answer here. The first is the pickle answer, which is just and cheese always, but which is just ketchup, mustard, pickle, done. Maybe onion if I'm feeling it, but ketchup, mustard, pickle, done. My favorite is going to be cheese, bib lettuce, bacon, tomato, done. No sauce.
Although we used to have a do you eat beetroot in the US?
Not really.
So the New Zealand burger, also known as a Kiwi burger, it was something that was also sold at McDonald's for a while, and I think they discontinued it. But the toppings for that were like patty, egg, beetroot, tomato, lettuce, cheese, onions, mustard, and ketchup.
You're getting kind of close to mine.
I think the beetroot and the egg as sort of like the out there toppings for it really made it shine. Like it was a very, very good burger. It is a very, very good burger.
Eggs in the States are at least pseudo common to get an egg on top. Like a Royale.
Gotcha.
The beetroot, no.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like if I go to a burger place and they know how to season the meat and they know how to cook it right, I will always get the most like bare minimum toppings because I trust them.
Yeah, I want the meat.
Yeah, if I'm going to like a new establishment or something, and not going to a new. If I'm going to a place where it's like, I don't know about like how they're going to season the meat or whatnot, and I'm going for like more flavorful toppings, a Kiwi burger is like my go-to. I love beetroot and egg on top of burger, especially if the meat isn't like really sort of like pulling its weight in that degree.
All right, Darick.
So for me, it's one of two because they're so like polar opposite. And one, like I don't just not eat like beef anymore. I don't eat pork anymore. But when I did this, so when I'll say my old answer would have been Hawaiian sweet roll bun, provolone cheese burger, a grilled pineapple ring,
All right,
Hawaiian
I see where
barbecue
we're going.
sauce, and then other piece of bun. So that like used to be, it was just like, that was my Hawaiian burger. Oh, a bacon. Sorry, bacon.
Yeah, bacon.
And then I was like, I know I'm forgetting something else I used to eat back then. So like it was I was my Hawaiian like barbecue burger. But now, so like if I get an Impossible Burger or like a turkey burger, because those are what I do still eat when I do burgers. I like the egg. So usually I make them at home. I'll just get like the Impossible patties, and that is brioche bun. For this one, because of with the egg, I usually do either cheddar or like pepper jack cheese.
Grill the brioche bun, right? Because you have to hold the egg.
Like toast it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a burger, usually like a pepper jack cheese, the brioche bun, toast the insides is the way that I do it anyway, because I still like some soft, an over medium egg. So I want it to be mostly solid, but I still want to get some of that egg yolk when I bite into it. And then I don't do sauce when I do the egg, because I also season my egg usually with like some sort of Cajun seasoning. So I Slap Ya Mama's my go-to. It's a seasoning you can get here in the States. That's really good. And yeah.
All right.
I like egg.
Next one is from Johnny Pastrami. What is the longest you've kept a piece of clothing in your wardrobe with the hopes that you'll one day fit into it again? Currently 30 years. I still have shirts that I really loved as a teenager that you can't get anymore, that would be great if I could fit into them at some point in time. It's a pipe dream, but 30 years.
Let me see.
I still have some pristine jeans that I got when I was going to university. I think I got them on my birthday, like my 18th birthday or something, and I fit into them. I think I used them maybe like once or twice, and then the university weight gain hit me, and I haven't been able to put them on since. I think I still have them.
Well, let me think here.
I'm 32.
I'll say 30. It's either 32 or 33. So yeah, about half as long as mine. Like
Yeah.
my shame is still doubling yours.
Well, to be fair, I was still growing as a teenager. There's definitely no way I would fit anything older.
No, yeah, it makes sense.
It's like, yeah, I was trying to fit into my friggin' romper from when I was 2. Like, bro, like, how am I gonna cut this weight?
No shit. Like I was the height that I am now when I was 13 or 14. So I've just grown outward in the ensuing times. Darick, did you, because you got back down to...
Yeah, I was about to say, so my answer is a little bit different, but I guess it still applies. I still have my varsity jacket from high school.
Varsity,
so that's 20
what?
Bowling.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is all the funnier when you remember that that's how I tore my bicep.
Yeah.
But so that's 25 years old, but I technically don't fit in it because that was when I was around 250 pounds. So it's big on me.
Okay. And yeah, that makes sense.
Was your bowling club called the Pin Pals?
No, we were the Holt Rams.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm an Algona Bulldog. So, next one, we're going to kind of get through these a little bit quicker, but no, fine, fuck off.
Anytime you say we're going to go quicker, you never do. I don't even know why you try.
You're right. Next one's from Charlie. Music request from each of you. Give me one album or artist that always seems to make it to your playlists, be it for road trips or work. Mine is pretty easy. Usually Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the 36 Chambers, or Wu-Tang Forever, one of the two albums. But that's almost always because it will get me going. Like, it'll hype me up. My favorite musical artist is still The Clash, but if you my playlist, it's littered with Wu-Tang almost all the time.
Respect. Wu-Tang is forever.
That's right. Wu-Tang is for the children.
It is for the children. But so this is interesting because if they're asking specifically for albums, there are a few albums that I immediately think of because they are what I call no skip albums. Like I can listen the whole way through, not have any problems. But the ones that immediately jump forward are I Prevail. So Trauma and True Power.
Okay.
Both of those albums are like straight no skips for me. I can put either one on and go the whole way through, whether it's gym, car ride, whatever. They're just great.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
36 Chambers is fucking.
It's a banger.
Like I was thinking, like, yeah, Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, easy thing. I think though, if I had to pick something else, there's another rap album that I was really drawn to.
Nas-Illmatic?
No, it's
okay.
Adventures of a Reluctant Superhero, and it's by Charlie Tuna. And he's like, I can't remember. He was part of like this like really old school rap group, and he's almost like a wholesome rapper. He's got this insanely deep voice. And his album sort of like explores like the sort of like superhero villain dilemma, but also in like this culture of rap and whatnot. But fucking I absolutely adore his flow, and like the guests he brings on as part of the album is really cool, and every single song just flows into one another really, really well, and it tells a nice story. And it's like, this is like what I want almost every album to be. Like it's just like really tight and really good, every song, no skip. But that's the album that comes to mind as well. I really, really love that one.
Yeah, it's a lot of times really hard because I've listened to a lot of music, and so you acquire a lot of no skip albums when you listen to a ton of music. So you think about hip hop, it's Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is still one of the greatest albums ever recorded. Nas-Illmatic, Tupac, All Eyes on Me, Wu-Tang Forever, Wu-Tang Enter the 36 Chambers. I mean, on and on and on. There are all these absurd ones, but then you start lacing in like the rock albums behind it. And it's like, Clash London Calling, Beatles Abbey Road. There are, Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder. There are just so many just holy shit albums that you just can never put them down once they start going. You just have to let it play. So there are several in that bucket, but like for whatever reason, a good hip hop flow, like Liquid Swords, is mind boggling.
I was going to mention Liquid Swords as well, actually.
Like the reason I don't include that on road trips is because there's one or two moments in that album I have to pull over because I'm vibing too hard with what's going on the album. So Liquid Swords is a fucking masterpiece.
I've been banned from playing any kind of Eurobeat while I drive.
Because now you're driving like 1,000,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, trying to
keep up with it.
Drift through corners.
Yep. I know that feel. I've definitely.
I love Eurobeat as well, but it's definitely not my road trip song.
Talib Kweli, Feel the Rush, gets me, and I will be doing 1,000 miles per hour, and I'll look down like, oh fuck, I am gunning it through this quarter.
It's unfair. It just makes you feel so like empowered and like,
yeah,
gotta go fast.
Yeah, you just gotta go faster. Question from Dom, and this is in Discord, so you'll have to pop into the listener questions channel to see the picture. But he says, what's wrong with this picture? Now, if you look at it, we have a Slippy player that has their deck in their pitch zone and their deck zone. You have a arsenal that is sideways, you have a their graveyard for their dagger is next to their graveyard. It's atrocious, really. It's very bad.
Honestly, not even close to the worst layout I've seen. not even remotely close. There is some. Oh my frig. So I hang out in the Purple Discord sometimes, and there are some pretty hot takes regarding suggestions for the official layout for the game. I remember seeing, and I can't remember how long ago it was. There was one suggestion about how to improve like Prism's layout, and it was like, all right, we're just gonna put all of the equipment at the bottom in a row. Like it'll go head, chest, arms, and then legs would be on the opposite side of the arsenal. And then like the hero was like shifted to one side, the graveyard was like below the pitch zone, and then you had like all of like the random aura space and combat train. It was like you had taken the like a playmat that like the ink hadn't dried on yet and put it through a washing machine and then taken it back out and tried to play fab. It was beyond. So
okay, that's real bad.
This isn't even close. I would pass this by and I'd be like, huh, yeah, as long as I understand it, that's fine.
You're stopping the game and correcting it.
Yeah. There are very few times I've ever stopped a game and said, okay, I need you to correct this because this is not going to be fair to any opponent that doesn't understand what's going on.
All right, that makes sense. Last question, actually, 3 hours and 10 minutes into the show, is from Quiet Mind 42. Question for Josh: when testing potential new cards, do LSS devs use physical cards and write/print card ideas on them, or do they use TTS or some other digital system?
So I can't reveal obviously too much about the testing process because it's company secrets, and it's also not my department, so I don't have the authorization to say everything. But physical play is a big part of testing. Like the devs always play with physical cards. And I think that's really important when it comes to like the gameplay experience as well. Like how cards feel when you're moving them about, when you're tracking the logistics of certain interactions. You need to sort of feel like your hero. And that's one of the things that really drew me into a lot of like the heroes in the game. Like the one I always bring up is Azalea. How it feels to put a card into your arsenal and then shoot that arrow as sort of like your gameplay loop, and then like moving cards from the top of your deck into your arsenal, drawing cards and that sort of thing. Like it feels viscerally like you're pulling back the bow to shoot that arrow. And I think that physical play, like physical development, is so important in order to capture that particular experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because like
playing,
I think Charmer brings it up all the time, where physical reps do not, or digital reps do not replace physical. Like,
yeah,
no, they don't. And they don't, because there's so much game management and whatever. But I was going to say it makes sense because like the physical representation that drew me into the game, like I learned on chain and I fell in love with that. But when I started like really playing Bravo, whether you're, bonking with the hammer or anything else, it just feels like you're dropping a hammer, whether it's one big crush attack or one whatever, right? You're just like, I do the thing, right? Like it feels heavy because you're just vertical the whole time.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
And I think as well, like it's important for working out like issues with logistics too, because there are a few cards that come through where it's like, in theory, this works, but like if you start to play it a bunch, you realize, oh, we have way too many objects to track, or like it's so ambiguous as to what state this object is in that we can't manage it anymore. We can't manage like lots of these things in play. And that's the kind of thing that you would only figure out if you actually put in the reps and you like start to develop in person.
Yep.
And even things like, you look at Tunic, for example, making that a May trigger was a purposeful design decision because there was just so many things that you have to, you could miss it all the friggin' time. And that you could only really discover that if you had in-person play and you realize that this is something that you're going to constantly miss or you're going to constantly misremember, and we don't want to penalize players. We'll make it a May trigger so that there's some skill in actually remembering that particular trigger and not just be penalized for missing an optional trigger. And like that carries throughout the game when we look at certain things. We're like, okay, is there a way we can either change this card so we don't have this burden, or we change it so that the player isn't penalized when they do not play like, in an intuitive way.
Yeah. Well, guys, 3 hours and 15 minutes. The pie is gone. Like Charmer's pie is long gone.
There's more downstairs. I was just waiting for the right time.
So let's thank some patrons and get out of here. We would like to thank our associate producers, Andy, Sindra, Anthony Ejor, Jacob, Aladoras, Octothoptorpus, fucking Christ.
Octothorptopus.
Octothorptopus, thank you.
Yeah, I love that because an octothorp is the same thing as a hashtag, which is the same thing as a sharp. Like, I love that it's a pound sign, right? I love that the symbol has so many names.
Good enough. Sofsky, Heiner, and Sleep Coma, and then our executive producers, Blaze Storm, member of the Patreon, Diana, the Green Cosplayer, John, the Delusian Data Analyst, is our possum supporter. Then we get into Chargers Chamber of Charcoal, who are going to be pretty much guesting on this show nonstop until 2:08. But we'll have Vintox, the bubonic bunter. I don't know what that means or why. Matt, the Jackal, Brandon, Zaris, El Dorte, and then our eternal ceiling fan, Polish guy Rich. If you're interested in becoming still the best fucking absolutely banger Patreon tier. If you're interested in becoming a ceiling fan or any other tier of our Patreon, you go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Link is in the show notes. There is a Lance Goodthrust supercut that we're going to be unleashing on the world sometime in the next couple of days. It's out. It's on YouTube. I just have to hit the button. I just have to decide when I want to hit the button. But everybody should take some time to enjoy that. And RIP to our good friend Lance Goodthrust. It's been a long time since I got to do that. But if you need to contact the show, you can always find us on BlueSky. Just search Flesh and Pod, or you can just send us an email, fleshandpod@gmail.com. Best thing to do, just join the goddamn Discord. It's where pictures of sloppy board states exist that Josh look at and go, that ain't shit. And also lots of really good discussion. Links in the show notes. You don't have to be a member of anything. You don't have to pay anything. You can just come hang out. Josh, where can they find you?
So I'm on BlueSky, jjscott.nz. I keep it pretty real on there. So if you don't want to see things that are too real for you, then stay away. I also hang out sometimes in the Purple Discord, although I'm pretty much a ghost when it's super busy. And then if you guys are interested in becoming a judge, you can head to fabtcg.com/judges and learn how to become a judge, or you can join the judge Discord and engage with the community that way. Other than that, I just hang out at events sometimes, come to Pro Tours, catch up with me, just find me when I'm not busy. And yeah, I'm happy to talk to basically anyone about anything. And aside from that, I just want to say congratulations, guys, on 200 consecutive episodes. An absolutely amazing, insane feat. And I'm looking forward to the next 200.
Oh, don't put that on me. But thank you so much for being you. It's always a wonderful thing, and the most some of the most fun we have doing this show is when we have you here. Darick, where can they find you?
You can find me in our Flesh and Pod Discord, which again is free to join. Egging Logan for number 260, because that would be the 5 years required for him to do the Booker T bit, and I'm not going to let it go.
5-6. That's 260 is so much. But yeah, it's always a pleasure. Again, the show is The show's nothing without the people that listen. The show's nothing without the people that care. The show's nothing without LSS and their continued devotion to making a great game. So thanks to everybody involved. And 208 is going to be such a fucking crazy, monstrous undertaking, and I can't wait. But
It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna lose my shit. At least twice.
It's gonna be 2-0 great.
Hey.
Huh. Well, on that note, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. And we'll talk to you again next week. Bye.